Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Members Only Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. That's if you're watching after the fact, obviously. And there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you. Out of thanks and appreciation to... and the page. Do you want to join in, Clover? You're lurking around for a reason. Help me shout out my patrons, Clover, if not. Oh, she's vanished. A shout out to Smith Tools and Purchase, A Level Playing Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, Effie Patriot, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sea Level Cultist, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, the name's Burley, Twadswazzle, Jason Hornsby, J Mel's 24, Unimento, Iron 26, Endless, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Harry Blade, Mobile Max 777, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Charian Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon will hopefully be below this video, if it does go out eventually, to the members of the general public. So with that, I'm going to see if I can round up anybody to be in my members only live stream for my G Plus and Discord panel. Hey Neil, how's it going? Public. Schedule these things as members only and they immediately change it. They don't want you to do members only streams. Public, members only. There, done. Got a good response from yesterday's show. I was quite surprised, you know, when you do a show and you like, after the fact, feel a bit... Well, at points you were like, oh God, here we go. Well, for that reason, you generally get the impression that people are going to be a bit downbeat about that show. On the contrary, people seem to really like it, Neil.
Yeah, well, it's justified, and I understand, but I just don't think you have to do that.
What, hold a mirror up to the scumbaggery?
Just the phraseology. But that's me. I understand.
Hey, Dank. Oh, no, I'm not in there yet. Hey, Dank. Right, I'm going to set up a members-only stream anyway, Neil, so... And what I might do is leave the chat on permanently. If any members from the members-only chat come along. You see if you can hustle me up some guests, Neil.
Sure.
Right, there's the chat. Okay, so the chat's done. I'll wait till you return before we actually go live.
What about celestial navigation?
Why is it ding donging? I thought I'd set it to... I set it to let people in automatically. Clearly not.
Is refracted. Good, I want him here.
Hello? Hello? I've got nothing from you, John. Alrighty then.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I was just saying hello.
Sorry, I'll be back here in just a minute. What's up, guys?
Bye. But anyway, Neil, we'll see a marked improvement in Brian's audio in the next few days. I can't wait. Cost me about 60 quid in total in mics, shipping and taxes. Totally worth it. Well, at least I hope it will be. I don't know yet. We'll see the end result in a few days. But if we even go up 10% intelligibility, I'll be elated.
Yeah, because that's all anybody ever talks about, that they can't understand them.
Well, hopefully when he's in front of a decent mic, I've given him options. I've sent him two, so he can pick whether he wants a dynamic or a condenser. I've sent him a pop filter. I can't do much more than that. So yeah, I was like, I'll get him to you, don't worry, Brian. He was like, oh no, it's awkward and there'll be all sorts of horrendous fees and the government don't want us importing stuff and all this. And I'm like, no, I will get it to you. And I have. I sent him the screenshot. I'm like, your taxes have been paid. Your item is on its way. It's all being addressed to Brian. It's obviously me. I've put my email address in so that I can take control of it and sort it out and just pay the taxes, which I have. I'm very pleased. Oh, I can't wait. Actually, hear what Brian might sound like.
We will hear the real Brian soon.
Hopefully. We'll see. Is anybody in Discord? Just Dank. He hasn't said hello yet. Okay. Which mic am I on? Are you right? I'm on correct mic. All good, good, good.
Hey guys, good morning.
Good morning. I guess I'll play my video game then if no one's around.
The funny thing about this guy, if you do play his videos, he it's funny, they always whistle right past the flat earth that they're using, the flat earth that they're utilizing, and then they go off to how celestial navigation's done.
What are you saying? That they whistle past the flat earth elevation angle?
Yeah. And in his diagram, he keeps saying surface of the earth, but his diagrams show you a man in hell.
Oh, I see. So it's working off the equatorial plane.
Yes, sir.
I see. I mean, I don't know what to say, Neil. They can delude themselves that they're operating from inside the protractor that measured the angles off the surface of Earth to the stars that we actually utilise to map and chart the world.
Well, in the second video I posted, he's talking about the 60 degrees per nautical mile. And he uses the celestial sphere. But he's got stars under his feet.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, especially from McKeegan's video, that they want to put the onus on us to explain how it all works perfectly. And when we don't, it's only a failure because it's a globe rather than the flat maps that are actually being used. So when it's a failure because it's been projected as a globe and then projected back onto flat maps, obviously distorting things, they want to say, well, that's your fault, you know, as in it's you haven't got a map of the world, none of the maps work, yeah? Therefore, it's these flat earthers who've got failures in the mapping department. You're like, none of us are cartographers to my knowledge. None of us have made the maps. But when they fail, they're our bad. It's like, well, you simultaneously want to take them all as yours as being globe projections. Like, okay, well, yeah, but that's simultaneously the reason they're all distorted. But it doesn't change how they function, right? They function flat. So that's how the world gets measured. But they want it to be my measurement. for the globe projections to fail. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I don't know. I was sick of it. Need to unpack the world that we measure flat as much as we do, but at least we've got to the point where we know it is actually a lot simpler than we first thought. Still got to be a debating ninja to try and unpack people like Dave McKeegan, who, like I say, want to blame us for the failings of globe projections, and then take the win when a flat Earth map with flat Earth angles that are measured actually does function correctly and get you to your destination. Then that's a win because it's a globe projection. You're like, no. I mean, it is surprising they work at all given the amount of distortion they've put into them, trying to make the world sphere-shaped. But even with all those distortions, you can still get to your destination, which is wonderful. But all of the processes involved of doing that are flat. All of the measurements are flat.
Not according to this character. Science It Out is the name of his YouTube channel, so he doesn't have a lot of followers. But yeah, he goes over celestial navigation and tries to claim that you can get an elevation angle off a curved baseline, which is Earth. That's how it's done.
It's not an angle if it's got a curved baseline. It's a contradiction in terms. If you want to say you're getting an angle, then okay, it's two straight lines meeting at a vertex then. If it's not two straight lines meeting at a vertex, it's not an angle. Hey Steve, is that Jin? Hey Jin.
Yeah, nice one, Nathan. Yeah, thanks for the welcome there. Just my condolences from the previous situation that you had, okay? I know it's bad timing, but I didn't have a time to tell you earlier, okay?
Oh, thanks. Much appreciated.
Yeah, morning.
Yeah, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, you keep some strange hours, Nathan, though. Strange hours, man. I mean, I've been trying to get onto this show, but I can never find it. And then there you are now, 1 o'clock in the afternoon in England, coming up.
That's always the time I'm here.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been this way for about 8 years.
Never been able to find it.
This is my regular time.
I've never been able to find you guys. Must be I'm so busy then.
Must be. But yeah, this is my regular slot. I normally start at about 1:20 UK time.
Okay, well, I'll log that in now, yeah, because I always seem to miss everyone. Or I come in and you're halfway through it.
Yeah,
Well, you're making a pre-show right now. See, Nathan starts, and this is the pre-show. So you probably come on when the show's going on.
But there actually won't be a show today. I decided that quite a while ago. I'm just too ill. So this is actually kind of more for the benefit of members and Discord panel. So although it's weird that you're like, oh, you're having a show today, I'm actually here. And I'm like, well, this is the regular show time. If I was having a show, which I'm actually not today because I'm a bit poorly. So what I've done is I've scheduled a pre-recorded show from yesterday. So I accidentally ended the stream, or the recording part of the stream, after an hour and 10 minutes. So that is going to go out as today's show, or in lieu of today's show. So that's what's scheduled at the usual show time.
So what is this, a members only?
Yeah, so this is just so that people in Discord are like, oh, like Jin's just done. Oh, it's nice to have you here. Even though technically I'd be here anyway.
Yeah, so they're still disputing the angle of elevation from a curved surface, are they?
No, they need to use it, and because they need to use it and have the surface be curved, then they'll say that you can get an angle from a curve. You can't, but they'll keep telling themselves that.
It was funny that it was this time last year that Jaron was saying the same, that you can get an angle from a curved surface. It started a few months, or we're in August now, so I'd say May or June of last year. He started saying that you could get an angle from a curved surface.
Yeah, it's a contradiction in terms, eh?
Yeah. I thought, wow, why would you say that, Jaron? That's not right. And that's when he began, moving back towards the globe.
I mean, you say that's where he began. I think he was always a shill, waiting to do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, that has been said. But he done so much good, tremendous work, especially attacking NASA, revealing that, and then attacking the heliocentric model with all its faults and no proof. He did a great job of that. So if he was a shill, he did a great job in educating us.
Well, I just see it as, if you're going to leave Scientology, why would you go in and study Scientology? But that's what he's doing. He's saying, leave.
Well, that's very true. Very true.
There you go. Well, isn't that what you'd want? If you got somebody who's saying, I'm leaving, what do you do when you leave? Study your Scientology.
Yeah. Well, logically, there's nothing to go back to, so why would you go back? There's nothing there.
Yeah, there never was a globe.
Yeah, right.
But at the end,
Just
at
the
the
way it
end of
was,
one of these videos, hold on one second, Jen. At the end of one of these videos, with this science it out guy, he sounded German to me. It could be Dutch. Who knows? But he says, so celestial navigation only works on a globe. So flat earthers, welcome to the globe. So he'd be listening.
yeah. I was going to say it's just the way it's been reinforced through our lives and currently still being reinforced, isn't it? That we're on a globe, even though there's not one single shred of proof for that.
Isn't that something?
Desperate they are. Yeah, and they catch us when we are unable to challenge that because you're too young. You're not thinking of challenging your teachers, are you? Really? You're more of a. When I grew up, anyway, it was you never criticize your teachers and pay attention to what they're telling you. You know.
Yeah, well, when they tell you 2 + 2 = 4, that checks out, right? They teach you how to do your ABCs. That checks out, right? So when they take you to the
That's
middle of the
right.
classroom, to the globe, and they say, here's where you are, you're thinking, hey, that checks out, right? These are my teachers. They're not going to do me
That's
any
right.
harm.
Exactly. You're skipping home every day with a lollipop in your mouth, thinking you've learned something good, and you're looking forward to tomorrow's lollipop at the end of school. That was me. Because at the end of the class, they used to give us lollipops at the elementary school that I was at. Yeah. I always wanted the orange one, so I got that. That was nice. I'm sure Nathan would remember them. You remember those lollipops that came on
I do remember, with the clear
cardboard stick, and then it had a plastic transparent wrapper, square shape over the. Remember those?
Yeah, with the transparent square pressed over
square wrapper.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it.
I'm just thinking how weird it is that you remember this stuff from school.
Oh, because I loved it, didn't I? I loved my school days. You see, that's why.
Fair enough.
It was the first impact of being away from home, and you're in another place where they seem to be doing things for you, and that kind of experience you never forget. You know, I can draw the plan of my elementary school. Even that's still in my head. The layout still there.
You ever go back and you would think that the school was huge, and you go back and you're like, wow, it's tiny.
It's tiny, yeah.
It seems so
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. The seats were small as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because I did go back, you see. Yeah, and I went inside and noticed how small the room was, actually. Ah, yeah, the little hallway we used to run through to get to the classroom and to get to the headmaster's office, that was quite narrow and not so tall. Ah, you're right. Do you remember the cloakroom? We had
Yeah.
a little cloakroom as well. When you go into the school, you turn turn right, hang your coat up. It'd have your name on it, and you hang your coat up, and then you go into the classroom. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember slipping presents into the girl I fancied's bag because it was exposed in the cloakroom, so you could sneak in,
There you go.
put your note in.
There you are.
I love you, you're really cute.
There you go. Yeah.
Janine Bidolph, her name was.
I can still remember the first time I smelt the bar of that you would wash your hands with at the sink and how cold that water was when you turned on the tap, yeah? That smell, I can remember it distinctively still today.
I used to have such warm memories of school. You know, we went to Catholic school, and we broke into, when you sold candy bars certain time of year. Did you guys do that in England?
No.
We
We had a tuck shop.
no,
We had what was called a tuck shop at school, but yeah, carry on.
there would be a certain time where all the kids would go out and sell candy bars. So we basically
Right.
robbed all the candy bars from the school library and sold them at half the price.
Yeah, where you would go out and sell them on the streets, it was sold in the school at break time. And the kids who run the tuck shop were very proud because they were acting like shop owners because it was their stuff anyway. They created everything. Do you remember the shop in your school, Nathan?
Of course.
Yeah, that's what it was called, the tuck shop. The regular stuff that you got in the sweet shops, but dramatically reduced prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to like the chocolate marshmallow. It came in a red and silver wrapping, biscuit base, marshmallow on top, and that all covered in chocolate. Do you remember that brand?
Vaguely.
Yeah, that would be tuppence, 2p.
Oh, you're a bit older than me.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm 63.
Yeah, I'm obviously 80.
So I'm talking about the 60s and that. Yeah. So you were in the 80s. Yeah. Perhaps a tuck shop. If you had it, you were lucky then.
Oh, yeah, there's still a tuck shop. I mean, the school that I went to, I was just like the last of the Gen Xers, right? So the school that I went to, while I was halfway through, it got rebuilt. So the old Victorian school was demolished. Real shame because it was a cool building. And then it was replaced with something extremely modern. But I got to experience the Victorian school with the clunky old radiators and, getting closed in winter because it couldn't keep itself warm. Things like that.
Yeah. We had that. But
They were
our
all
school,
Victorian.
School was great though,
What you'd have gone through was the same, the same buildings and the same schools that I went through. In other words, they were all Victorian buildings.
That's correct, and built upon the same standards.
Exactly.
Which I thought was pretty good, really. I mean, the only reason why you might be cut is just the boiler was inefficient, needed maintenance, and then once it was fixed, you'd burn your hand on the radiator. It was that hot, So
We
there
used
was
to go
some
to a
maintenance
neighborhood.
issues, and again, sorry.
We used to go, because I grew up in Brooklyn. It was all apartment tenements, where it was like you had front house. You had two apartments. They're all railroad rooms. So you had 2, 4, 6 in one building. Then you had the rear section, but also had 6. So if we wanted to see anything privately owned, like Victorian, we would have to get on a bus and go to a place called Forest Hills, and we'd call it going to England, because they'd have all cobblestones, all Victorian houses. Beautiful. Still to this day. It's a big attraction, Forest Hills, Queens.
Yeah. We had, in our school, we had a basement playground and separated, boys and girls separated, because obviously the boys would be playing football and they'd be charging everywhere. And if you ran into a girl and knocked her down, you'd be screaming all day and crying all night, you know. So they kept us separate. But the only time that we were allowed to play together would be on the roof. We had a roof playground as well, you know, with hopscotch and various other games that you could play. And the funny thing was, right, that we would play football and we'd kick the ball over and it would land on people's cars going by. Really dangerous. I'm surprised they kept us up there. Yeah. Playing football and we'd kick it and it would go over the fence. And, you know, you're talking, first, second, 3-story building, right? And it would be landing on the people or landing on the cars driving by. And that was allowed. I always think back to those days, really dangerous. Health and safety was very low there. Yeah, great school. St. Mary Magdalene's on Longford Street, adjacent to the church, right there, the church. So on Wednesday, you'd go to school, you'd go in, cloakroom, right? Only for a short while, because if it was winter, you have to put your coat back on because the church would be very cold. Go in the classroom, registration, and then straight to church. After church, PE. After PE, dinner. Like that. I remember that one. Church was always on a Wednesday.
Well, as I said earlier, we've got a scheduled show, which is a pre-record, but it's not been viewed by anybody. So if you did want to watch it, we can watch that with the, with the audience that's live. As in, although this is a members-only stream, and I will start members-only live.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. You did Dave McKeegan yesterday, didn't you?
So it's the first half of his video. So the response that, you know what I mean?
What a two-bob he is, hey? Sorry, excuse the French.
I've got the trailer for it. Can you hear the trailer?
Yeah.
Earth's measured flat, right, Toon?
Hey, Nathan, you lied.
You know Earth's measured flat, though, right, Toon?
Yeah, you're a liar, Nathan. You're a liar. You said the sun sets. You lied. Caught you. You're a scum. You lied.
Did you hear what Nathan just said to you? Did you hear what Nathan just said to you?
You lied.
I lied about the sun. That doesn't change how Earth is measured. It's measured flat.
Absolutely 100% lied about the Earth. Turn off your mute button there, Nathan, or a life partner, the mute button. Turn it off. We're talking.
You done?
Right?
We measure Earth flat,
Stop
too.
over talking.
Like with your elevation angles in your challenge.
Changing the
Maybe if you keep talking indefinitely, maybe you'll win this debate. I've waited for you to stop. I heard you. You called me a liar. Are you going to stop talking, or is this your mute button? You done?
Right?
We measure Earth flat, too.
Stop over talking.
Like with your elevation angles in your challenge. Maybe if you keep talking indefinitely. I've asked him if he appreciates Earth's measured flat, and now he's rumpusing.
Nathan, stop talking. Stop changing the topic, Nathan.
Earth's measured flat, Toon, like in your challenge. Your elevation angles are flat Earth measurements, Toon.
Gunpoint. Nathan, you said I would get turned away at gunpoint. I did not.
Meanwhile, Toon's challenge utilized a flat Earth measurement.
You are changing the topic, Nathan. I am walking around outside in Antarctica right now. All of your gullible idiot followers should be realizing right now that you are an idiot or you are a liar.
Okay, Toon, I accept that you are seeing a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Are we going to have a discussion beyond that, or are you going to perpetually call me a liar so you don't have to listen to anything I say?
I will perpetually call you a liar.
I put it to this man that he measured Earth flat for his challenge. All he can do is claim that I said people would be turned away at gunpoint. See if Toon can listen or just ramble straight through me.
Disgusting piece of garbage.
Seems like he's sharing his pain there. Will you accept the Earth being measured flat with your angle measurements in your 10K challenge there, Toon?
Get off the internet. Stop putting your lies out there. You're running from the topic, Nathan.
I'm running from the 96 times that I put the flat Earth elevation angle measurements in your 10K challenge. Am I running away from those? We'll see if Toon keeps rambling through me or he actually acknowledges the angles
Don't
that
change
were
the
taken.
topic. The
There's his
topic is
second
Antarctica.
interjection.
Topic
No worries.
is
What a coward. I guess I better start the members only live stream, eh?
You better show me where them guns are, Nathan.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, members only live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're watching after the fact and you're new to this channel, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Refracted Curvature and Neil. And we're actually waiting for a premiering stream to start that we might as well watch together as members because it hasn't actually gone out to the public either. So if you happen to be watching it on the members only members only stream with us, it's because I'm not exactly under the best. I'm not feeling very well. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, so rather than actually running a proper live stream today, we're members only. Nice and easy for me to run, and we'll watch the premiering stream as it goes out in about 1 minute's time, I think. So yeah. Hey Neil.
Hey, that was that video you had yesterday. That was really heartfelt, man. Like, I felt bad for you with your kid. You know, like the stuff that they're putting you through just for pointing out measurements. Kind of disgusting, you know. Like, I felt for you. I did. Like, that bothered me a lot.
In one of the I got a message from one deck during the show, and he said, "Is Nathan okay? Do you think we should stop the show?" I said, first of all, how would I stop the show? Second of all, this has been going on for years. Let him get it out.
Yeah, very true. The worst comes out. I mean, normally I can keep that stuff under wraps, but when I'm not feeling very well, it tends to get the better of you.
No, man, you did good letting that out. That needed to get out. Like, people need to know that's wrong what they're doing, you know? Like, good on you.
Yeah, but maybe Dave doesn't deserve to be the instrument of that. You know what I mean? He's just average baller, and he's not exactly out to be nefarious. It's just he's getting caught in the crossfire. Yes, he associates with these assholes, but that's not him, is it? So maybe I should be apologetic to Dave McKeegan, that is.
Nah, he's part of it too. When you read the comments in these videos, they all together have conspired to get you out, take you down. They don't even want you to have a computer.
And what would you have a computer? What did that mean?
Well, they don't even want you near a computer where you can go live somewhere and have a show. They want you off the internet, Nathan.
Oh, I see what
Told
you
you
mean.
a long time ago. Public enemy number one.
You know, so they're lucky in the fact that they're not getting sued for defamation of character, for example.
No, that's the point. That's what they want. You say they're lucky. On the contrary, if it goes to court, then it becomes about me and my gripes about their bullying me rather than about Earth being measured flat. So that's precisely what they want. They want to take it as far as possible away from the actual argument and make it all about me as the individual. So if they can offend me badly enough to the point where I'd sue them over it, then they've won. That's the end. That's what they
Not
want.
really, no. Not really, no, because the reason for the lawsuit and the bullying would come out, and your case, Flat Earth, would come out.
No,
It would be a
wouldn't.
great avenue to release the
wouldn't.
truth.
No, it'd just be another thing that they'd use to attack me personally, to discredit me, the individual, with the message and take it away from the message itself. That's the only reason to do it in the first place.
Yeah, I reckon you'd win that case. You'd win your defamation of character, and you'd promote Flat Earth at the same time.
Nah, I agree with Nathan.
How you handle it.
This is a distraction, and they want nothing more than for Nathan to bring a case against them. He'll be playing right into their hands.
Yeah, then it becomes about that, doesn't it? So yeah, every time I'm pointing out these things, I'm peppering it with, yeah, but that's still me appealing to Dave McKeegan's flat Earth measurements in Antarctica. That'll never change. And I'm going to point it out every time each and every discussion gets mentioned. Well, we're measuring Earth flat, and we've checked, right? We went down to Antarctica. By we, I mean a group of individuals went down to Antarctica and double-checked. We do measure Earth flat everywhere. Doesn't matter where you go or how far you go. You'll still measure Earth flat just like they did. I'll rely on their measurements. That annoys them. What's the word? I keep forgetting the word that they used. Intimidated or something. Threatened. They feel threatened by us pointing out how they need a flat Earth for their measurements, always. They'd much prefer we weren't pointing out their use of the flat Earth measurements. Me taking clips of Simon Dan saying, yes, we do measure Earth flat, but that's okay. That will piss them off royally. Like, absolutely infuriate them. It's okay when Dan says, yeah, we measure Earth flat, but that's okay. It doesn't mean that it is flat. They all go, oh, okay, so it's okay for us to measure Earth flat because it isn't flat, it's a ball, says Dan. Oh, that's okay. But when I take the clip and go, right, let's get rid of the bit off the end where Dan says, yeah, even though we measure Earth flat, it doesn't mean that it is. When I get rid of the it doesn't mean that it is bit, we just left with Dan going, yeah, we do measure Earth flat. And then there's no mitigation afterwards. That fucks them off royally. Like, it absolutely infuriates them. They just want to hear, yes, we can measure Earth flat, but it's still okay to call it a ball. So me taking, yeah, we do measure Earth flat, end quote, Simon Dan, it's going to piss them off. They're going to feel threatened by that. Tough.
Yeah.
And but you humanized yourself. You humanized yourself yesterday in a way that I've never seen you do. You know? And anybody that could watch that video and feel okay with their behavior after watching that, like, they just ain't got no heart.
Fair enough.
They need is for us to not be people. There needs to be some stereotypical retard for them to make fun of. That's one reason I don't, actively engage on the circuit, because I'm like a hillbilly and they would use that against me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all they have done in the last 48 hours, quite literally.
Yep. They're questioning your academia.
Yeah. And for what?
I guess you formulate that into, if John is a dumbass hillbilly, then Earth's a sphere. That's what they got.
So education means nothing. What does it matter what your education is if you're showing facts?
It doesn't. I like to use the other way around. It doesn't matter if you're a multiple felon. Same difference. What difference does it make?
Right. You could be in prison for 3 life sentences. What the hell's the difference if you're talking about something that's factual?
Yeah.
How far away is the sun?
I don't know. I don't even know what the sun is.
Why do you ask?
We ask daily.
Just wanted his opinion on it.
You want to know how far away it's ground position is, we could probably calculate that. But as far as its actual position, we don't even know if it has one to be making claims about it. It doesn't follow the laws of geometry as we know them.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, we know the position where it's above at what time. That's about it.
Well, I don't know what the sun is, but I know it's hot, and I know it's not 93 million miles away. That's for sure.
Yeah, I could
Do
be
we
pretty
know
sure of
that?
that too. I mean, I could challenge that and go, you don't know it isn't. But by the same token, that particular number's come from a derivation that we can definitely disprove because it violates its own base measurement when it creates a curved surface with angles that are measured flat. So when you come to the end value, 93 million miles is definitely invalid, but only as that one specific number goes. But even then, it's a bit, I feel a little bit uncomfortable saying it isn't 93 million miles because I don't even know what it is. So if it turned out to be 93 million miles away, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked because I have no idea. It could be anything. But that's a heliocentric value that's definitely debunked. We haven't violated our own flat Earth measurements with heliocentric worlds created with flat R values. So yeah, I'll go with you on this one. It's not 93 million miles away. There we go.
We'd all like to know, though, like those questions are still there. We're all interested by them, but because we don't know them, the answer to that doesn't mean that we don't know how we get the measurements to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to talk about those measurements. Why don't you do that 4-minute video?
What 4-minute video?
The one in Master B. Celestial navigation on a globe.
You don't want to watch my premiering stream of me covering the first half of Dave McKeegan's video.
Oh yeah. We can do that another day. Yeah, let's
We're
do
playing
it.
now. I've got to monitor it anyway. I thought we could just watch this for an hour.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, it's not really going to kick off for another 10 minutes or so because I'm just talking about setting up the show.
Hey, just one question before you get onto this video.
Gad.
I was asked to ask you, what is it going to take you for you to go to another server to have a debate?
I mean, what's it going to take for me to go to another server?
Like, can they just invite you, or will you go, or what do you, like, what's the requirements?
Where do you want me to go?
Oh, hold on, I got
They
it.
want you over at
How about a valid conversation?
Hold on. Say that again, John.
I said, I'll tell you what would make us go to another server. How about a valid point of contention?
About valid.
Well, they want you over at Gem Pandas, and they promised that they'll give you mic time and they won't mute you.
Yeah, right.
Promise they'll give
You're
me
not hearing
mic
me,
time.
though.
For what? I've been to Gem Pandas. They did shout me down. I've got a recording of it. They did mute me. I've got a recording of it. They're saying,
Hold on a second.
Neil.
As
So what
the
you're saying is
debate-
Gem Pandas invited me over and are suggesting that they won't mute me again, like they did when I went in unexpectedly last time, which I've got a recording of. I see. So what you're saying is this server that has a history of muting people is opening by telling me not, I value your time, here's money, but we won't mute you. They're not saying again, so they're not acknowledging that they've already done this once. Correct? So why do they want me there?
Well, I mean, what's done is done in the past, I guess, but...
All right. So when they had Children of the Flat Earth in that very specific server, Do they still have that section where they have other people's children under scrutiny in the server? Is that still a thing in Gem Panda's server? Children of the Flat Earth. Do they still have that? That's why I had a little nose last time. You've gone silent. Can you verify whether or not that server is still looking at other people's children or not for me, please? Can you check?
They're not.
Did you check?
They are not.
Have you checked?
I mean, I'm in there, yeah.
All right, and they don't have, as they previously did, the Children of the Flat Earth section of the server. They don't have that anymore. Can you ask one of the server operators if it's just a hidden section of the server that was previously available? Can you check if it's not just creepy fuckers looking at other people's kids and they've just hidden it from view? Can you ask if it's just hidden from view for me, please?
All right, I'll ask that next time I'm in there.
Why? You've asked me if I'm going to go over there. I'm answering you. Can you verify if they still look at other people's children or not? Please. Can you do that for me? You're asking me. I've answered you.
Yeah, sounds good.
It doesn't sound good. Why would you suggest that them looking at other people's children sounds good?
No, I'm saying it sounds good. I'll ask them.
Why would you want to involve yourself in other people looking at other people's kids? You are going to willfully go and engage and ask people whether or not they are still looking at other people's children or not. You're going to willfully go and engage with these people, are you?
Well, that hasn't happened when I was there. But I'll
Sorry,
ask
do you want the screenshots? I don't give a fuck what you saw there. I'm telling you like it's a fact. And this is a fact I did report to the police. I can get you crime numbers if you'd like. I reported this to the police and got crime numbers. The creepy fuckers looking at other people's children with photographs kept on their server under a section called Children of the Flat Earth. You want to ask me again if I want to go over to these people because they won't mute me? Oh, what a privilege. So, are we still doing the illegal activity that I reported to the police or not? Have you found out? You're going to be all good with checking this with them. You like these people, do you? You want me there, do you? Personally, I'd rather see them all burn in hell. Every creepy last one of them. That's why when I took the information about them looking at other people's kids to the police, that was the sentiment I said to the police. Yeah, I hope all these fuckers burn in hell. Yeah, that was my sentiment. Okay?
All right, fair enough.
Not fair enough. Absolutely fucking infuriating. Why are you associating with these creepy fuckers?
I don't associate with them. I just go in there.
You're asking me to go there. I'll ask again. Why are you associated with these creepy fuckers?
I don't think he knew.
It's just interesting to hear debates, that's all.
What, from people who keep images of other people's children on their server?
Well, that I didn't know.
He may not.
Well, now you do. How'd you feel about them now you know?
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, right? Yeah, some of them were mine. My offspring were on there.
Yeah, they shouldn't be doing that. That's fucked up.
No, they shouldn't, should they? That's why I reported them to the police, like for actual crimes. So yeah, this is something from about, what, I don't know, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. It's the kind of shit I've been dealing with for a long period of time. And like at the beginning of this show, while John was like, man, you could really hear you bearing your innermost on yesterday's show. Yeah, this is the shit I've been dealing with for quite literally years. But these same exact people want me to feel privileged because they won't fucking mute me. I'd rather see them all burn in hell. That clear? These people are all evil people. You understand that?
Yeah.
Good, as long as we're all clear.
I didn't even know about that, Nathan, until just now. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a reason why you can hear me talking the way I do. It's not just out of nowhere. It's not because somebody heard a sound on a stream that they've decided makes me a child abuser. No, it's because people on that server actually kept images of other people's kids. That's what they were doing. Why? Well, because they wanted to... what was the list you gave earlier? See people off the internet and you not have a computer. Yeah, they were using other people's kids against them in that regard. That's why they did it. Yeah, so they could try and have their kids taken off them, like Brenda tried to do when Brenda's reporting me for child abuse, so that my kids can be taken away from me. That is absolutely their intentions. That's what they want. And if they can make it about that, then it's not about their Earth measurements, their flat Earth measurements, the ones that I appeal to when they measure Earth flat. If they can make it about my kids, then it's not about them measuring Earth flat, making them feel stupid. Rather than feel stupid, they'd rather see their opponent's kids taking off them for no reason whatsoever. That's what they'd rather see. Rather than admit that they were wrong. It's absolutely pathetic.
Nathan, I'll tell you what, I'll put a challenge forward to any of these creepy people or, any baller or anti-flat earther. If you can come up with one valid point of contention, I'll debate you. Just one.
Well, it's kind of funny to me because I thought they were boycotting us. So they're boycotting us, but they want you there. Okay.
Yeah, it's bullshit. What they need is to try and tear me down while I point out the same thing that every response video in the last week has said. This guy says Earth's measured flat. It isn't. I mean, we do, but it's not. I mean, we are, but it doesn't mean that it is. That's what they're all doing. They can't quite wrap their head around how to cope with it. And the idiots amongst them feel that the easiest route to stopping that happening is just to shut me up.
Shut your channel, shut your...
Yes.
Do you remember when Thunderfoot was doing his elevation angles? Remember that? And he said, you just got to convince yourself that this angle is the same as this angle, and then you move forward. You know, it's we're not letting them convince themselves because we're pointing out the measurements.
Yeah, you just got to take this flat Earth angle, put it in the middle of the ball, and just convince yourself that it's all working from within the ball, at the equatorial plane, in the ball. Well, if you can convince yourself that it's working from in the ball, then we're all good, then everything works. Okay, well, you're working off a ball that's got a flat plane being utilised and measured. If you want to represent it as the surface, then it's flat. But if you don't mitigate in between and go, yes, we're measuring it flat, but that doesn't mean it's flat, like Dan does, then you're public enemy number one. If you can say, yes, we measure Earth flat on the local level, but it's only for convenience that we measure Earth flat because it's a really big ball at big scales. If you do that, you can have 1 million subscribers. If you just say the first part, yes, we measure Earth flat for convenience sake, end statement, then you can be ridiculed and told not to breed.
Doesn't seem like they got a valid point of contention at that point, do they?
No. Right, do we want to listen to the initial reaction to Dave McKeegan? Boring tripe did get 16 minutes of airtime. Wonderful, Nathan. Well done. Job's a good one.
Let's go.
Funny stuff. Okay. Right, is anybody in meet? They might have tried to get in and I've just not had my audio running because my preamp was off. So let's open up meet so anybody can join without me having to let them in. And I think that is genuinely the last thing I need to do. Move this chat a little bit, make it pretty. There we go. Now I'll get my super chats. So yeah, for the mods, I have actually put a link to Dave's video in my live stream. Now this obviously is completely irrelevant to this when it goes out as a premiering stream, but if you would be so kind, I don't know, can you hear that lawnmower? Yes, I can. No, the gate seems to be engaging, which tells me that it probably isn't getting through, but there's a bloody lawnmower. Ain't no dead cat gonna sort that out, I'm telling you now. Okay. Oh, it's going to distract the hell out of me hearing that weed whacker out the window. Should I close this window? Let's just carry on.
You'll often see flat earthers making various claims about flat earth, though they don't always actually agree with each other about these claims. For example, some people will point to this being the flat earth map, whilst others will say it's not, or they can't.
Okay, I mean, it's not, though. It's an azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection. So how people debate this subject is kind of what I'm, at the moment, highlighting is the game, or the name of the game is to make it seem like there's a debate when there isn't one. So some people would say that this is their flat Earth map. Some people wouldn't. Okay, what is it then? Well, it's an azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection. That's what it actually is. Now, that's not contestable, that's what it is.
Can't agree on why things move towards the ground when you
Sorry, have you ever looked at a cloud, Dave? Wow, Dave's a spastic. Hello, Dave. Let's do this live for Dave. Can you see... Oh, no, it won't focus on it. Oh, it's not going to make my point very effective. There's clouds, Dave. Why all things move to the ground? Cloud. Dave was dropped on his head. He's as dumb as Simon Dan. Doesn't appreciate that not all things go down. We've got frickin' clouds. Oh my God, you're a retard. What is your malfunction? Have you never seen a cloud, Dave McKeegan? Were you dropped on your head? I just want to know. I'm asking for a friend. Did your careless parents, like Dan's careless parents, drop you on your head because you're under the misapprehension that clouds don't exist, Dave? Now, I'm just going to call you a spacker and correct you, dumbass. There's clouds. Not all things go to the ground. Yeah? Gas go down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash much, Dave? Crackhead. Pay attention. There's clouds. Okay, Dave, you stupid idiot. This is irritating. Why do I have to educate this man who's got a much bigger audience when in his opener he's suggesting that we're trying to fathom out why all things go to the ground? When there's clouds, Dave! I mean, what kind of a crackhead idiot are you? I'm asking for a friend. Answers on a postcard.
drop them. But one claim that most flat earthers seem to agree on is
that stereotyping fallacies are used by our opponents quite regularly. Most will agree on. Will most agree that you're a crackhead when you say that things go to the ground, Dave? Will most agree that you don't know what a cloud is? Because I'm going to go, yeah, everyone will agree with me when I say you're a spastic because we've got clouds. Now, nobody's going to disagree with me when I say they're not going down. Do you not understand the water cycle? It was taught to you in high school. So the rain come down, the vapour go up. Yeah? Up! So when you say, what, we've got a force of gravity? No, we haven't for 110 years. Yeah, spastics like Dave haven't been keeping up with their continuing credits when it comes to gravity. Yeah, we haven't got a force of down. You want to hear George Mooser? He told your spastic buddy Craig about it. Yeah? You haven't got a force of gravity. You can think of it being a force, but I would call you a spastic. Like, you can think of all things going down. When we got freaking clouds, I just say no, dum-dum. Bent pseudo-Riemannian fourth geometry. That's what you've got. Fourth being the extra dimension invented by an Einsteinian convention he plucked out of thin air. Now, that has been on the table, superseding gas go down, go boom, boom, which it does not, with a force of gravity, 110 years ago. Spastic! Go and learn about what gravity actually is. In your dumbass rhetoric of a ball, You've got a bent pseudo fourth dimension, not force of down. Look at a cloud, crackhead.
Is the claim that they push about the Earth being measured flat. And one of the most...
Sorry, did he just say that one thing that all flat earthers would agree with is that Earth is measured flat? No. Let's get that dispensed with immediately. So what I will do from this point forth is I will cite Simon Dan as my source that says Earth is measured flat. Because according to Dan, it's all good to measure Earth flat, surveyed flat, locally flat. Simon Dan says this, not me. So, from this point forth, we'll hear what Simon Dan's got to say on the subject, and we'll see if these two numpties are agreeing with each other or disagreeing with each other. We'll find out as the day progresses whether Simon Dan's in the hard place of denying Earth measurements. They're all flat, by the way. We'll hear Dan admit to that in a moment. Or whether or not McKeegan is in the awful position of being on his knees on the rock of Earth being measured flat, admitted here by Dan. Let's have a little listen.
Curved sea level.
On your knees, acknowledging the linear distance, perpendicular elevation, and flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle.
Yeah, okay. On a local scale, I will acknowledge all of that.
Dave, did you hear that? Quote, on a local scale, I agree with all of that. That would be the linear, flat distance measurement, the perpendicular elevation, and flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle. Agreed to as measurements made of Earth on a local scale, so saith Simon Dan. That was unedited. That is to say, taken directly from Simon Dan's video, me saying, get on your knees and acknowledge the flat Earth and how it's measured, and Dan saying, yeah, I acknowledge all of those things. That's because he can't deny them. What are you going to do? Deny the base of a triangle is flat when you're measuring Earth with it? Absolutely, unequivocally not. You will concede the flat Earth triangle, because without it, you haven't got any measurements. Now, let's see if Dave McKeegan takes this awful truth of needing to measure Earth flat to a disposal of having any measurements. Let's see what Dave's got to say in the face of Simon Dan.
Most vocal proponents of this claim is Nathan Oakley.
No, Simon Dan. See, what I did was took Simon Dan's words, because he was quite content to tell his audience, quote, what Nathan is saying. Oh, well, that's no worries, Dan. I can take your words and say what I'm saying with your words. No worries. Like when Dan admits that we do measure Earth flat locally for convenience. Not my words. Dan's words about measuring Earth flat locally for convenience, end quote, Simon Dan talking about measuring Earth flat locally for convenience sake. So we'll be clear about the flat Earth trig that Simon Dan's claiming is okay to use, even though you believe it's a ball. You will measure it flat with trig because that's okay, says Simon Dan when admitting Earth is measured flat. So who agrees with this? Everyone, including but not limited to Simon Dan, and he'll be telling you exactly how flat it's okay to accept Earth is measured with trig locally over 50k.
Measure Earth flat. And yes, local land surveys use flat approximation for convenience.
So Dave, we all clear? We use local approximations for convenience. Yeah, they do measure, the surveys do measure Earth. But we can call them approximations of a flat Earth used for convenience. Meanwhile, those are facts that I will stand by and cite Dan for. When detailing what surveyors do with trig, it's flat for convenience. The calculations, the measurements of Earth are flat, and that is admitted by everyone, not just flat surveyors in this instance being detailed by Simon Dan. What else you got to say, Dan? ads. Possibly unskippable. If you're in Discord, I might as well tell you, if you want to watch, you can actually watch. I have shared my screen in Discord if you did want to watch along. Everything working fine in G+? Actually, don't care, I'm just filling time. Don't answer.
Above sea level means the average level of the ocean. And
so we're clear that Dan's saying these words. Yeah? I'm playing little unedited sections of Dan observing Earth. They're surveyors. And it's definitely flat. We're using trig. It's the shortest distance on a straight line. Right, Dan? Or maybe we should hear from him personally.
6,000 feet above sea level means the average level of the ocean. And
so we're clear that Dan's saying these words. Yeah? I'm playing little unedited sections of Dan admitting Earth is measured flat. Just so we're absolutely abundantly clear in response to Keegan that he's responding to Dan telling his audience that surveys say flat.
And sea level is assumed to be flat.
Well, it wouldn't be much use if it wasn't.
Flat ground forever. Since elevations are measured as vertical distances from sea level.
Yeah, since they're measured vertically from sea level, that means you need a horizontal plane of reference to measure them. Yeah, that's right. So, again, so it's clear for Dave McKeegan. Dan's admitting that to measure heights, you need a surface level. Yeah, Dan's admitting to measuring Earth flat here, Keegan. So we're clear. This isn't me saying it, it's Dan.
Measuring a mountain's elevation, it assumes that since elevations are measured as vertical distances from sea level.
Yeah, they are. That's exactly how they're measured.
And sea level is assumed to be flat.
It can't be anything other than flat, or it wouldn't give you a level reference to give you perpendicular for the higher the mountain off. So it's not necessarily right for Dan the idiot to call it an assumption. It's an axiomatic fact if you want to call this a measurement. But nevertheless...
Then the whole system collapses if Earth is curved.
Yeah, that's right, Dan. If you've got a curve, you haven't got an axiomatic perpendicular to the height of the mountain. So no, you can't have a curve involved in an angle measurement. Like this. If this line's curved, it's not an angle anymore, is it, Dan? So you're going to need a flat Earth for this, right? And Dan understands that, Keegan. You understand, right, Keegan? That Dan understands that you need a flat baseline. You see, a few years back you were making videos saying, well, Nathan says Earth's flat because of triangles. And what do you know? Here we are a few years later. Dan says triangles too. He just says, yeah, it's okay to use triangles, straight line distances, perpendiculars, because the whole system falls apart if it's curved, and he's absolutely correct. So, to summarise, Dan's saying surveyors measure Earth flat locally over short distances, and that's good. Okay? So Earth is measured flat, says Simon Dan, and he cites surveyors doing it on short distances that he calls local. What are they doing on the short distances Dan calls local? Are they measuring Earth flat? So we're all abundantly clear. Who agrees with me in this scenario?
The Earth has curved sea level.
No, Dan, that's sort of retard speak that a man dropped on his head would come out with. A contradiction in terms, you might say. You can't have curved sea level. That's kind of spastic talk, really. Again, I don't know if I've got a response out of Dan. Were you dropped on your head by your careless mother? Because curved sea level is a contradiction in terms only a spastic would come out with.
Okay, look, land surveyors do often use flat plane approximations every major bridge or tunnel.
But they do. They use flat plane approximations. So we're clear, the surveyors, people measuring Earth, use a flat plane when measuring Earth, says Simon Dan. Yeah, that's right, Dan. I edited out your mitigation where you went on to say that doesn't mean it's curved. That meaningless drivel wasn't cited. But what you are apologising for, that would be the flat Earth. Very short local distances that we measure Earth when surveying are flat. But according to that, that's okay, right? You ballers can understand from Simon Dan that it's okay to measure Earth flat over very short distances, right? That's cool, says Dan. So Keegan's clear. Dan says it's okay, McKeegan. Over short local distances, we're okay to measure Earth flat because the surveyors do, for convenience, measure Earth flat. Okay, we all clear?
Or transcontinental railway. Use flat approximation for convenience. Linear measurements require flatness. Miles only make sense on a flat plane. By using miles, directions and measurements, you're secretly a flat earther.
Somebody I've not actually covered on this channel for a while, but I have had quite a few of his followers commenting across numerous videos pushing these same claims that Nathan makes about the Earth being measured flat.
What about Dan? Do you want to add Simon Dan to the list? See, Dan says it's okay to accept that you do measure flat Earth locally over small distances. So you do measure Earth flat, Keegan. I'll give you a different example. You in Antarctica, with your elevation angles. This is the base of the angle that you measured. It's the surface level. Unless you want to deny that you're measuring Earth in Antarctica, Dave. I've got it defined as the hard place. If you want to deny that your elevation angle measurement of Earth isn't a measurement of Earth, then you can take your measurement of Earth that you made in Antarctica and fuck it off out the window as not being a measurement of Earth. Alternatively, Dave, you measure Earth flat with your elevation angle measurement of the sun for a 24-hour period. Am I to accept your 24 hours of flat Earth elevation angle measurements? Or do we just decry them and say you, not me, you don't have any measurements of Earth? Again, I'll just clarify where that would put you. That would put you in the hard place, Dave. You don't have any measurements. Your elevation angle measurements in Antarctica aren't Earth measurements. Well, then you don't have any measurements of Earth, Dave. Oh, you do? You've got your flat Earth prerequisite that Dan admitted to, elevation angle measurements. You've got those that you measured on a flat Earth, Dave. You measure flat Earth. Dan understands that surveyors on a local level measure a flat Earth, Dave.
And yes, local land surveys use flat approximation for convenience.
We all clear, Dave? For convenience, you, Dave, you measure Earth flat for convenience, for the angles you measured in Antarctica. Yeah? Surveyors measure Earth flat. Locally, on short distances, when they make things on the flat surface of the Earth that they measure flat, says Simon Dan. So we're all abundantly clear what's happening. Earth gets measured flat by everyone always, and there are no exceptions. Dave measures Earth flat. The surveyors measure Earth locally flat over short distances. And Dave here thinks there's some sort of rebuttal. How are you going to refute the surveyors, Dave? You're going to tell me they don't measure Earth flat? Because they do. That's what Dan's admitting to. You tell me that you didn't measure Earth flat with your angles. Okay, then they weren't measurements, Dave. So you didn't measure anything in Antarctica then. Oh, you did. You measured Earth flat with angles to the sun for 24 hours. Yeah, I know, Dave. I already figured this out a while back. You measure Earth flat. Everyone measures Earth flat, Dave. You don't have to like it.
Especially for locations many, many, many miles apart, use flat approximation for convenience. Even manual levelling over long distances.
I hate that.
In fact,
Say again.
I hate that when they say for convenience. No, it's because the conceptual unit, right, matches an aspect of reality, and we can apply it to make it a measurement. It's not convenient. It's not an approximation. It's a measurement. Because we have the conceptual unit, which is flat, level, horizontal. The horizontal matches an aspect of sea level, flat. We can make measurements to find out about our world. That's not it. It's not convenience, and it's not approximation. It's irritating to hear them say that.
it seems to be the only claim that Nathan really makes anymore.
Sorry, Simon Dan makes it. Are we getting this clear up? Can we all let Keegan know you seem to be responding to Dan? Nathan cleared it up immediately on his stream that you are mistaken. You thought it was just him making this claim. He played a video of Dan talking about differential levelling over long distances. Yeah? I mean, Dan didn't go into rise over run, but surveying says measured flat locally over short distances. Yeah, okay. Dan says it's measured flat. Locally over short distances. Okay? It's still measured flat. For convenience, though. So it's not just me saying it. You say it. Yeah? Sometimes I hear things like, yeah, we measure Earth flat, but that's only because it's so big that we measure Earth flat. So no, it's definitely not me saying it, Dave. And it's definitely not me doing it. I'm not measuring Earth at all, in fact. If I was to have to be pushed into cite someone who measured Earth flat, I'd cite you, Dave. I'd say TFE, a Mr. Dave McKeegan, and the measurement was in the form of elevation angle measurements of Earth's surface. What's that? You spoke to Dave and he said they weren't measurements of Earth. That wasn't measurements of Earth. No, I didn't take any angles to the sun. And, okay, so Dave's denying his own Earth measurements. Is this what's going on? Okay, I'll still cite TFE and the flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurements made of the sun with respect to the horizontal plane of reference that was used to measure it. That would be the surface. Earth's surface. And it must be flat or it's not an angle. I hope we're all clear about Dave being used as my hostile witness for measuring Earth flat personally. Dave did. That's measure Earth flat with elevation angles. He can either get to his knees and accept and understand that he measured Earth flat with his measurement of elevation angles, or he can deny his own measurements, in which case he has no measurements. I'll still use his measurements of a flat Earth to show how Earth is measured flat by Dave. I'll still use TFE. Falsely called an experiment. We'll just call it the flat Earth, because that's what they measured there. Elevation angle specifically. Dave, this dude, specifically, he's my citation. Anybody wants to know where does Earth get measured flat? Hear him, this man. In regards to them going down, there's a picture of how you measure an elevation angle. This is an example of Al-Biruni's measurement or some shit. I can't remember, it might be Aristophanes actually, but nevertheless, it's a flat baseline for an angle. The same thing that Dave McKeegan was doing in Antarctica. Yeah, he's got it on his shirt, and the only measurements that are going to be provided are elevation angle measurements with respect to a planar surface. And measuring a flat Earth for us. Yeah, you're going to need a flat Earth for that. So I suggest you get on your knees and acknowledge just how flat Earth must be for these miles that you're utilising. They still measured Earth flat, though, even if it was to tellies that wasn't the real sun. You measured Earth flat there! Distance and path and motion are all mathematically derived from a flat Earth measurement. We're not going to be putting anything through any curve calculations until we acknowledge how flat it must be. Different cues for meter reference. So we've got an elevation angle measurement to the sun. That's what Dave McKeegan's actually doing. This is the same thing. Elevation angle measurement to the sun. This is what's being measured in Antarctica by Dave McKeegan. To get this measurement. You can't use flat Earth heights above sea level to say that Earth isn't flat. You'll need a flat Earth for it, you stupid clown.
So much so that even when he's presented with an observation that anyone can see causes a problem for flat Earth.
Right, no, there is no problems being caused for any flat Earth, right? When I cite Earth being measured flat, there's nothing to move on from that. You either accept that you, McKeegan, measured Earth flat, or you don't. This is your measurement. It's on screen now. It's called an elevation angle. This is what Dave McKeegan measured in Antarctica. Elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period. Now he can say, oh, no, I didn't measure anything. I didn't measure any angles, actually. Actually, I wasn't getting elevation angles. All right, so you didn't get any measurements then. So you've got no measurements of Earth. Okay. Well, I'll reference the measurements of Earth. Here's an expanded view of what elevation angle measurements for a 24-hour period to the sun would look like. This is what they measured in Antarctica. This is what they alleged was an experiment. It's not. It's flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the sun for a 24-hour period. That's what they actually measured. So like I say, I will reference Dave and point out what gets measured.
For example, he was reviewing somebody's video recently where they put on screen a series of images of a building that were taken from further and further distances away. All of the images of the building were scaled so that the building appeared the same size in every single one, but you can see as the camera gets further and further away, more and more of the bottom of the building gets obstructed.
Yes.
Why is he not talking about measurements anymore? Going into visualizations.
I mean, he has actually got a whole crap ton of distances labelled on the screen. You mean Dave McKeegan as opposed to the example he's making?
Yeah, I mean, he started his... I mean, I like the fact that he's even said it seems to be that Nathan's only claim now is that the Earth is measured flat. And I think that's good that he said that, because that is him realising that that's what it's come down to. That's all that matters. And he doesn't like that we're just claiming the Earth is measured flat and we can show you examples. So he's talking about how the Earth is measured flat, and now he's referencing looking at a picture, not describing how Earth is not measured flat. Just seems a bit odd to me.
Kind of. And? Sorry, how does that alter Simon Dan explaining that we survey Earth flat? Let's just hear Simon Dan again, because this sounds like a glaring straw man. No, I didn't make any claims about this. I mean, when I speak specifically about Dave McKeegan, specifically about you, Dave, so we're clear what my claim is with respect to what Dave has done. It's on screen now. This is what Dave McKeegan measured in Antarctica. This is what's on his shirt. This is what I have addressed. His flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the sun for a 24-hour period. This is what Dave measured. So, no, you want to strawman me with something about how much obstruction due to the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, Earth curve mathematics suggestion of obstruction based on an observer's height measured off a flat surface level in the maths that Dave would need to appeal to make this straw man claim. Now, Dave, you see, to make the assertion that something's blocking the bottom of the building, you'd need to put that distance into the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. And that would be dependent on the observer's measured height off surface level, because the derivation in the mathematics in the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve mathematics requires parallel eye level when measuring your height off a flat Earth. So no, Dave, I'd have definitely addressed this, but that little straw man attempting to be burnt in your crappy little video here is being addressed directly, so that we can move back on to the actual point I'd address to Dave. You are my hostile witness, Dave. You measured Earth flat with elevation angle measurements to the sun for a 24-hour period. Obviously, this is defined as me bashing your knees in and getting you on your knees to acknowledge the flat Earth prerequisite for an elevation angle measurement which you made in Antarctica. Alternative options include denying you've made any measurements, calling them calculations or extrapolations. You can do that, but then I'll just point out that you don't have any measurements of Earth, and I'll still rely on TFE's flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurements, or Simon Dan's admission that surveyors measure Earth flat.
Normal trigonometry gives good approximations. Trigonometry doesn't care what shape you're on. It's just relationships between angles and lengths, used by pilots and astronomers and GPS systems. You can absolutely apply trigonometry. In the case of this diagram here, 50 kilometers, so normal trigonometry is absolutely valid.
So normal trigonometry, we all understand that trigonometry only works on flat surfaces, we're talking about straight line linear distances and straight lines for angles. That's what we're talking about when we talk about trig being okay to use when measuring Earth. Like approximating it, weasel. Over a short distance, weasel. When measuring Earth flat. Locally, weasel. Yeah, we're measuring Earth flat. The surveyors are measuring Earth flat. That's how it's measured. Earth, that is. Flat, that is. Earth being measured. Flat, that is. An admission by Dan. It'll get played every time I hear some strawman shit about measuring heights off surface level in begging the question, proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculations that also require surface level be flat. For this garbage claim to come from this man.
Something that you fully expect with a globe. I've demonstrated this before using a curved surface, and you can see it every single day just watching objects going over the crest of a hill. So, what was Nathan's explanation for what causes this bottom-up obstruction?
Sorry, I haven't made a claim about it. It's a claim being made by the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. And upon said claim being made, I take people to the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator and point out first and foremost it's in orthographic view and displays the side of your own head alongside the target object. Whereas Dave, who is either idiotic, that's to say he was dropped on his head by his parents, or ignorant, has shown as an example a demonstration that did not have an orthographic view utilised in the demonstration. The view was a perspective view. So Dave is obviously too ignorant to understand how his own mathematics works because he's using perspective views, unlike his appeal to the obstruction at the geometric horizon, marked with an X and labelled horizon.
You can see it
in the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculations that are a orthographic representation of the lying shyster's suggestion that the target is the only thing we see when he represents the view thusly. Where's the target's side of his own head in this view, Dave? Do you not understand how the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculations work when they represent you in a side profile orthographic view with a surface level measurement requirement? Because I'm going to suggest that Dave's just a spastic. Like he's just thick. Like he's been in this subject long enough to understand how Earth curve maths, but he's misrepresenting how Earth curve works by showing perspective views for an orthographic representation. Now I'm just going to say he's a spastic, he's thick as shit. Meanwhile, this little straw man of how I should explain how your claims of Earth curve in orthographic representations work. Now, this little straw man's not going to fly. Meanwhile, if you're going to make this argument, you're going to need to explain why you need a surface level as part of the measurement to make this claim. And as soon as you do, get on your knees and acknowledge the surface level measurement with parallel eye level for the calculations in your begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, you'll be on your knees acknowledging how flat Earth gets measured for your surface level. We won't be debating how much gets blocked in the distance at the geometric horizon that resides below the surface level you just measured. And I'll point out that your perspective view is a bullshitter's way of lying about the orthographic mathematics of Earth curve that infer that if you measure Earth flat for your height off surface level and retain a flat surface level for a parallel eye level, you can, in orthographic mathematics, lie about a further second horizon below the surface level you measured. That's what you can do. And then you can throw this shit up that doesn't show the side of your own head like Earth curve maths needs in its orthographic representation, where you see the side of the frickin' world. Well, that's not how this is being represented by lying shitbags like Dave. He's just a liar. You're watching this man, you're being deceived by him, and you don't even know it.
Every single day just watching objects going over the crest of a hill.
Well, that's not going over the Earth curve geometric mark with an X and labelled horizon, begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve that you are appealing to when you suggest that we see Earth curve in the distance that's blocking a building. This is an actual hill. And the mathematics of Earth curve requires you measure surface level. So what are you going to do? Just ignore the facts in this matter that you require surface level measurements? You require Earth to be measured flat to appeal to these maths.
So, what was Nathan's explanation for what causes this bottom-up obstruction on a flat Earth?
Effect that we see in this image.
You've got distances. What do you think this is? 25 kilometres, right? 34 kilometres. They're linear, flat. You don't have curved distances in kilometres, you stupid girl. Don't use our measurements. How dare you assert that the distance in flat linear kilometres is going to debunk the distance in flat linear kilometres? Why do these stupid little children, this idiot, ignorant girl, make videos about how a flat Earth linear distance in kilometres to a building measured with a height off surface level proves Earth isn't flat? It's utterly stupid!
Yes, his attempted explanation of the observation was to not actually attempt to explain the observation at all.
Sorry, I pointed out that the distance in flat linear miles would require flat linear miles be the distance measurement that you appeal to, at which point Earth's measured flat with flat linear miles. So, yeah, I did explain exactly what was being measured in miles. In this case, distance. Maybe it's just my rebuttal wasn't heard. Maybe the second time I say it a bit louder, you might hear. Maybe make a measurement distance on Google Maps and tell me it isn't straight and linear. Maybe you could tell me that the distance measurement as you do an elevation profile on Google Earth isn't also straight and linear, as per the measurements of Earth. Like the scales on a map are flat, straight, linear representations of a scale in miles. So I absolutely addressed the prerequisite requirement for flat Earth in terms of your distance appeal. Mute before transition.
And instead just say that heights require a flat Earth, therefore the Earth must be flat, and so...
So that would be what Dan's pointed out. Your height is prerequisite in terms of your distance measurement. It's a linear flat distance, and if you're going to have an elevation angle, give you an angle, it's going to be a flat Earth that you're utilising for it. So no, Dan's already conceded to all of these things, Dave. Were you unaware? Like heights above sea level require you have a flat sea level? No, mate, you don't seem to be keeping up to date with the flat Earth debate. Maybe it's just going to be a string of straw mans that don't actually represent what's being talked about here currently.
So everything else is irrelevant. So, in this video, I'll be going over the various measurements that Nathan claims requires the Earth to be flat, such as elevation angles, heights, and distances, and showing how he's wrong and how anyone can see day to day that those measurements don't actually require flat surfaces. In reality...
Well, this is what we're talking about. This is an elevation angle measurement to the sun. So before we do anything else, if it's being suggested that elevation angle measurements aren't a flat Earth prerequisite, I'm going to read out a few citations. The elevation angle, sometimes referred to as solar elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. Like on screen now. Pause it. The angle is measured between an imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on, sustainable by design altitude angle. The altitude angle, used interchangeably with altitude angle, is an angular height of the sun in the sky measured from the horizontal. PVE education. Measurement of elevation angle. Elevation angle is the angle between the horizontal plane and the line of sight measured in the vertical plane. That's radar tutorial. Solar zenith angle is the angle between the sun's rays and the vertical direction. It is closely related to the solar altitude angle, which is the angle between the sun's rays and a horizontal plane. Since these two angles are complementary, the cosine of either one of them equals the sine of the other. Angle of elevation. The angle of elevation is the angle between the horizontal line and the line of sight which is above the horizontal line. It is formed when an observer looks upwards. Suppose you are standing at the terrace of a building and looking upwards at the sky or at the sun or moon. The angle thus formed between your height from the ground level and the line of sight formed is called the angle of elevation. Formulas, definitions, and examples. Angle of elevation. Angle of elevation, definition. The angle of elevation is an angle that is formed between the horizontal line and the line of sight. If the line of sight is upwards from the horizontal line, then the angle formed is an elevation angle. I've got about another half a dozen more, but I'm going to stop there. There you go. I've
I
defined
don't hear any of them say curved.
Let's see what Dave's got to say about the matter.
Much of this is pretty straightforward geometry, a lot of which you could learn on the likes of Brilliant.org, because amongst their hundreds of on the using Brilliant app, you can consecutive, and doing these different measurements, such as angles, heights, or distances, can only be done with a flat Earth, and so therefore the Earth must be flat, because
No, therefore Earth is being measured flat. So if we are measuring heights off surface level or sea level, then you're measuring heights off surface level or sea level. Okay? So we've got a surface level. So we've got a sea level. This isn't contestable. It's not like I'm saying, if we measure off surface level, then ipso facto we've got a surface level to measure. I don't need to make that stupid, nonsensical, redundant statement. We've got surface level. We've got sea level. We use it for measuring stuff. When we use it for measuring stuff, we can use triangles with flat bases, like the flat surface, like the flat sea level, like the flat surface level. Trig is good, like Dan says, like Simon Dan says, because that is how we measure. Again, not contestable. I'm not drawing a conclusion from it. I'm stating a fact. Earth is measured flat. We use surface level for elevations. That's what elevation is. Height off the surface level. Again, there's no conclusion to be made. It's a statement of absolute fact.
Because apparently it's measured flat. But why?
I just said I'm getting tired of explaining this. If people can't comprehend, that's their problem. I'm done with this.
Does Nathan believe that the Earth is measured flat?
Because it is. Like when you measure the height off surface level, you're measuring your height off surface level. That's not a belief. So do I believe you and your elevation angle measurements with respect to a flat Earth surface level? Can I trust Dave's Earth measurements? Now, in this case, I've just defined them 6 ways from Sunday. They're elevation angle measurements. Like with respect to the horizontal plane the observer is standing on, for this to be an angle, for this to be a measurement, and for it to be relevant to Earth as a measurement, I need to know, can I trust Dave's Earth measurements of elevation angles? Can I trust them as Earth measurements, Dave? Because if no, then you haven't got any measurements of Earth. If yes, Earth's measured flat, because it's elevation angle measurements that you measured and I will rely upon. So this isn't contestable. Either Dave kicks his own measurements, that's the TFE flat Earth measurements Dave made of Earth, that's flat Earth angles, or he kicks that shit to the curb and says, I haven't got any measurements of Earth, in which case he hasn't got any measurements of Earth. But I'm going to rely on those measurements, Dave measurements, this dude's measurements. I'm going to rely on them. See on his shirt? That's him being in Antarctica, right? I'm appealing to your measurements, Dave. Are yours not right? Why do I believe in your measurements? I don't know. You can tell me the answer, Dave. I'm intrigued. Do I believe you measured Earth flat? Or am I imagining it? Did I hallucinate you measuring flat Earth prerequisite elevation angles in Antarctica? Tell me that you didn't measure Earth and you haven't got any measurements, or that they're just calculations, in which case you haven't got any measurements, or they're just estimations, in which case you haven't got any measurements. Alternatively, Dave, I'll rely on your reliable measurements of a flat Earth in the form of the elevation angle measurements you made for a 24-hour period when you were alleged to be in Antarctica. Allegedly, you measured the Earth flat with elevation angle measurements to the sun for a 24 hours period, and I'm relying on them. Unless they're just beliefs. I mean, maybe you can tell me. Are my beliefs in your measurement beliefs, Dave? Because I'm a bit confused. I'm relying on you and your measurements of a flat Earth.
And I suspect if Nathan ever does a reaction to this video, he will have just slammed the pause button down, probably for about the 10th time already.
Yeah, Dave, I did. I slammed the pause button down and pointed out that I'm appealing to your measurements and asking for a friend if they're my belief in your measurements of a flat Earth. That's what I did. Let's see if Dave guesses right what I'll do when I slam the pause button on for the 10th time.
In response to me saying it's a belief, and he will have just yelled something along the lines of, it's not a belief, it's a fact.
Not quite, Dave. What I actually said was, I rely on your measurement. So I'm asking, in response, is your measurement a belief I hold? Because I'm relying on it, yeah? I just need to know. Can I rely on your measurements? Or are they my belief in a flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurement? Maybe we could find out from Dan if it's reasonable to accept these measurements as measurement. Let's have a little listen to what Dan's got to say on the matter.
Earth being measured flat. And yes, local land surveys use flat approximation for the angular size of Pikes Peak from that position is 2.36 degrees. This is basically the angular size you expect on a flat Earth.
Here.
You absolutely do calculate these degrees when talking about how high a mountain appears from a certain location. We measure Earth flat. That's how line of sight works. Elevation angle is often measured by calculating it using height and distance.
I'm pretty sure we've just cleared up what an elevation angle is. So, Dave, you measured elevation angles. Height, distance. That's how they're calculated, right? We just heard from Dan the man. So, like I say, Dan's cool with us using elevation angle measurements, and you measured elevation angle measurements to the sun for a 24-hour period that you alleged to spend in the Antarctic region to observe the sun and measure Earth flat with elevation angle measurements that I rely on that you made. So we're going to get it cleared away. You are going to respond and let my and your audience know whether or not my measurements, no, they're not. They're yours. Your elevation angle measurements, are they a belief? Did I just put my trust in the wrong thing? Do we need to shove your measurements where the sun don't shine, or are they reliable flat Earth elevation angle measurements that you measured of a flat Earth? Which one? Are we relinquishing them? I've got this defined as a position, by the way. It's called the hard place. I haven't got any measurements if they're going to be flat only. If they're angles off the surface, then no, I haven't got any measurements. It's just calculations. In which case, you haven't got any measurements of Earth. Yeah, and then in which case, I was wrong to believe in Dave McKeegan measuring anything. What a crackhead. Obviously, this spastic having been dropped on his head wasn't capable of making any Earth measurements when he went to Antarctica at great expense. Oh, they were measurements? Oh, I'll rely on them. What's that, they're my belief? No, they're your measurements of a flat Earth, Dave. I hope we got this clear. I've paused the video for the 10th time to make it abundantly clear that I didn't express any belief in anything. I expressed my abject and total faith in your measurements. Unless they're not measurements, in which case we'll chuck Dave and his TFE experiment, measurement, whatever you want to call them. We'll chuck that shit out because he weren't measuring Earth. Right, Dave? I just believed in the wrong thing when I thought incorrectly that Dave had an Earth measurement in Antarctica. David didn't have any Earth measurements in Antarctica. It was just my belief. Unless they were flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurements, in which case we definitely measure Earth flat. Like Dan has started to warm to. Dan started to understand. 50 kilometres of it, no less. Locally measured flat is Earth, according to Dan. Short 50 kilometre distances are measured flat. Elevation angles are measured flat. And Dan understands it. Yeah, I understand it. I'm relying on Dave's measurements of a flat Earth, but Dave thinks that I've got a belief in his measurements. So we need to get this squared away quick sharp, don't we, ladies and gentlemen? Maybe we can ask Dave. Does Dave even realise that I'm using his measurements and I'm relying on them? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe you can let him know.
For example, he says all elevation angles require a flat Earth.
Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline? When describing how high the sun is in Antarctica for a 24-hour period with elevation angles as the description mathematically of the measurement taken, you will unequivocally require Earth be measured as a flat plane of reference to acquire an elevation angle to the sun.
So the basis for this claim seems to be that he thinks you can't derive an angle from a curved surface and that therefore you can only get angles to flat surfaces. Thus, Earth must apparently be flat in order to get an angle to a star. There are a few problems with this angle
to the sun.
So the basis for this claim seems to be that he thinks you can't derive an angle from a curved surface.
Sorry, did I say derive? My ears did not mistake me. Dave, you're a lying shit. Measure. Talking about measuring angles from the surface. Derive? No. You can derive angles from tangents to balls that you imagineer. But we're measuring Earth's surface. So we're going to be talking about how we measure Earth, not how you derive a tangent from a ball that you imagine. I thought you were measuring Earth. We'll need to get this squared away as we move forward, but I need to find out whether or not Dave's denying that he's got a measurement, because he seems to be implying at this point that what he's got as a measurement that I'm relying on isn't a measurement, it's just a derivation. A derivation's not a good Earth measurement. I mean, I'm going to rely on people who actually measure Earth with elevation angle measurements. They call them elevation angle measurements because they're measurements. Dave seems to be turning this flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurement into a derivation. That sounds kind of like the hard place. Yeah? Did you predict that I'd, mute the stream for the 15th time to say that Dave's got a position that seems to be very much like what I define as the hard place? They've stopped meaning measurements, it seems. Derivations? Haven't you got any Earth measurements? Have you only got derivations? Like calculations? I want Earth measurements, though. I mean, if we're going to argue about what Earth is, I, a flat earther, will rely on Earth being measured flat and surveyed flat, like Dan admits to, like on a local scale, 50 kilometres of measuring Earth and how flat it must be for convenience to measure flat. That's what I'll rely on. But Dave here seems to say that he doesn't have any measurements in Antarctica, only the derivations. That seems a bit crap. What gives?
Surface, and that therefore you can only get angles to flat surfaces, thus Earth
not get angles to, we're getting measurements from, aren't we? Yeah, John, you there?
Yeah, sorry.
We're playing a video. This is going out. It's probably just finished premiering, so there's going to be people who have just literally wound out watching the end, but we're obviously pausing it because I'm still sat here, albeit a little bit poorly. But while I was making this, obviously I don't think you were in the hangout while I was making this. Neil was there. But this whole, to summarise it, from a sphere to a sphere, bullshit, doesn't surprise me. I didn't know if there was background audio in the recording or if you were piping up, but I suspected, given that you were here, that you would want to put your two pennyworth into the from a sphere to a sphere scenario we're hearing about right now, right?
Yeah, because it has to do with referencing to reality, right? if you're taking a measurement, it's from, because you're going to reference, you know, reality. You got to have the reference. That's the from, your origin, your zero, however you want to call it, your point where the two lines will converge, right? So you're getting an angle from the surface, not to the surface. To is not from. You can get an angle from a flat earth. You cannot get an angle from a curved surface.
We're measuring from the surface if we're measuring Earth. It seems like Dave's definitely taken the hard place. Yeah, you're going to relinquish your measurements, Dave, in favour of tangent-based calculations?
Earth must apparently be flat in order to get an angle to a star.
Yes, that's correct. Let me just reread one of the definitions of an elevation angle for Dave's indulgence. The altitude angle, sometimes referred to as solar elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between an imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. So that's how we measure Earth and how an elevation angle measurement gets defined. But it seems like Dave doesn't want his measurements to be measurements anymore. He'd prefer that we're getting tangents from balls. I see.
It's not from balls. It's to balls. Tangents to balls, not from balls.
Right, that's it. That's the end of that video. That went out, premiered. Now the live stream's live to the general public. Oh, where's my
Oh no. You said with the from and to right there at the end, when you said you're getting tangents from a sphere, you never get tangents from a sphere. You can only get tangents.
You don't need an
sphere.
expensive solicitor to write.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That guy had a British voice, so I assumed he knew more than I did.
No.
Want to hear AI's response? If you can get an elevation angle from a curved surface, it says creating false elevation angle measurements, particularly when dealing with a curved baseline, in parentheses, like Earth's surface, is possible and can occur due to various factors. Here are some ways such measurements can be faked or inaccurately generated. So even AI is admitting it. It's not a measurement then.
Yeah, the minute you claim a measurement with an elevation angle, height, distance, any of this stuff, all you gotta do is ask them what's your reference, and they're destroyed. They have no reference.
Sorry to
Here's
interrupt.
somebody's.
Quick shout out to Roger Ledwell, who says, I think we've just scratched the surface. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support, Roger Ledwell. It also verifies to anyone watching that this is actually now live. Happy days. Doubly useful.
Here's one of them. All right. Here's one of them that they use. It's called atmospheric refraction. While typically corrected for, deliberately miscalculating or omitting atmospheric refraction correction can lead to erroneous elevation angles. Refraction bends light, and inaccuracies here will distort the apparent angle. What's atmospheric refraction again?
It's an hour-based refraction. It's not really refraction at all.
There is an R added in, but initially it's calculated from a flat plane. That's where its genesis has always come from. That's Andrew Thomas Young used a flat plane for all of his measurements. That's,
So you're saying he used it, but over here he says, here's another one they use: incorrect baseline definition, misrepresenting or incorrectly assuming a flat baseline when actual baseline is curved due to Earth's curvature, for instance, will fundamentally alter the meaning of the measured angle. You said he used a flat baseline, right?
Right, this sounds like an AI answer. You're trying to interpret how AI gives you an answer. And I don't know if people appreciate how AI is even configuring the answer for your consumption, but it's not giving you an answer in the way you think it's giving you an answer. And you're trying to fathom this, and you're going to be here all day.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because we're assuming Earth is a sphere from the beginning.
Yeah, so just stop with the AI nonsense.
Yeah, stop with the AI. I've seen this, right? And Craig, click OK, and I have had this conversation several times because we both get it. We were both trained in the same manner in terms of computers. My folks dealt with computers for years as I was growing up. Craig runs a computer shop. There is one term you need to know in terms of AI. Garbage in, garbage out. Now, what does that mean? It means if you feed in a load of crap into the processing, a load of crap comes out the other end. Now, in terms of how these AI algorithms, whatever you want to call them, work, they've got to have a base to run from, and that's all come from us. All that really happens is stuff gets faster, and we relabel and re-merchandise stuff, apps and programming and dedicating processing to these AI. You're like, oh my God. People think that the AI is going to take over. Oh my God. People haven't got a clue. It's sad, right? But as I say, Craig and I have rolled our eyes many a time whilst talking about this. Yeah? Over a curry, one of the guys who works, I'm not going to give too much away in terms of what he does, but he's explaining how he's suddenly got access to very, very expensive AI, and he's looking for solutions within his logistics and manufacturing processes and all sorts of stuff. And whilst trying to figure out how his marketing team is processing out certain information to certain teams, he's looking for one individual who's not obeying the rules but is getting the information out in a more efficient way, and he can't figure out who this person is, so he's forcing AI to try and figure it out by all the information that's available, right? And he can't figure out it either. This AI isn't doing it. So he's explaining to me, this guy over curry, that in order to try and fathom it, he tells the AI to brute force it more, like think harder is the command, and all the machines power up and use loads more intense power, and out pops some dude. Here's the dude. They find him, right? They find the dude. So they figure out that this dude is doing X and Y and Z to get the information out to the distributors in the more effective way. So they go and try and track down this dude. Dude doesn't exist. The AI's invented a dude. They wanted a dude. He's given them a dude. The AI being the he. I'm sorry to anthropomorphize AI. I can't help it. I'm ill. The AI gives them a dude. It just invents someone, right? It can literally invent and fabricate a person, because that's what they're trying to find. In our feeble mind, we're ascribing this process to a person. So when the AI is being asked over and over again, who is it, who is it, who is it, and then it brute forces it, it fucking invents somebody. You're like, oh my God. You think this is going to take the world over, do you? No. What you're figuring out, though, is it'll just bullshit you. It'll just freaking lie. And I remember when Adam had that penny drop, it was about 6 months ago. And it was because of the book, some of the citations we've got on Ask AI forum to go and find them for us. And then you find out that AI will just lie to you. It'll out and out lie depending on how you phrase the question to it. Because it's not trying to fathom a question response. It's piecing the information together in a way that you can never fathom. And it's not trying to satisfy you in terms of linguistics or human emotion. It's just delivering you what you want based on how you phrase the question. Sometimes it makes no sense, sometimes it does, and sometimes you'll take that as being true when, in the case of brute forcing a solution for a tech company, they end up inventing a person, fabricating a person into existence through AI being asked a few questions in the right way. It's bonkers, isn't it?
Well, of course we know it lies because when I asked the question, it should have been no. You cannot get an elevation angle from a
Can't
curved
lie.
surface.
That's the thing, though. So what we're quantifying as a lie, you're like, no, you've asked it in a certain way, and it's trying to piece together what you want in the answer. So, but you're like giving it this human quality. Lie. What are the two values that are required to be calling something a lie, Neil?
Capacity and motivation.
Yeah, but you just said it. It spit out a person, right?
Right, but it's got to be an intentional deceit with malice of forethought. And you can't ascribe any of these sorts of things to the computer or its algorithm that we created in the first place. It's called anthropomorphization, ascribing human qualities to innate things like programs, in this case AI. It's just on another level. But it's also used to fearmonger us. I think it's amusing. I always laugh about these things when I come across them because it amuses me. And if it didn't amuse me, it's because generally, if I observed the people around me being terrified by it, I'd like is it contaged or whatever the singular is? There'd be contagion. I'd get infected by them. Suddenly, I'd be scared that the AI's gonna get me. Bloody hell! Like we're living in freaking Terminator or something. And it's just no, that's not how it works. Not at all. Did you not pay attention in your IT class? Did you even have an IT class? Garbage in, garbage out.
So the Terminator's not real?
No, Neil. No. It's never gonna have consciousness or be self-realizing or any of these words that are anthropomorphized into AI as a possibility. It's just us being idiots.
I 25 minutes. So 25 minutes for garbage in, garbage out. That's astonishing. So my wife just came in. She's watching the weather forecast. They always have questions. He says, I got a question for you. See if you can answer this. How far is the horizon if you stand at the beach? This is what my wife came in and asked me.
I can tell her exactly.
I said, well, say again?
I can tell her. The distance to horizon is the same as the Earth curve maths gives you.
I did. I said, well, according to Globetard, 6-foot observer should be 3 miles. But you got a problem. So I said, I pulled up the Black Swan.
I don't see that's a problem. To answer a question, I'll give her a slightly different spin on this. There's a reason it's laid down as 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, because that's where it's generally observed to be. And when boffins from the past have looked at it and then assessed it for mariners to find use in that distance to horizon, and it's obviously a misnomer. There is no distance to horizon. I should get that out of the way, right? But when calculating said distance for corrections, like a height of eye correction for a sake of example, it's useful to be able to calculate where it approximately is based on where you see it. And where it appears to be is 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's not a bad place to put it if you're going to try and maths it. Again, I'll just reiterate it. That's not where the horizon... There is no being at a horizon. It hasn't got a freaking postcode. That's absurd. But to best answer your question, for the purposes of mariners in the literal 1700s, based on the book that 10th gave me this information from.
Holy shit.
Well, that's where I got it from. I remember them calling it the offing, and I'm pretty sure it was connected to height of eye correction. And I remember seeing the maths and going, well, this is the same as Earth curve maths. And going, holy crap. Like all psychopaths are just recycling stuff. And it was used for the offing. So there you go. I mean, I'm just trying to help your wife out.
Yeah, that would have been a good. I'll stick to my answer.
Mine's better.
Oh, pardon me.
Mine's got the word offing in it.
Just to go back to the previous thing for a second, because we talked about the AI being incapable of lying because it would be I can't even say the word, but same thing I think goes for.
Got a super chat from Roger Labwell. He says, Neil, there isn't a T-cell virus either. Lol. I don't know what he's talking about. Do you know what he's talking about?
No clue.
Sorry, Roger. I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you very much for the super chat. T-cell sounds like a dandruff shampoo to me. I didn't know you had dandruff. I don't. I use T-cell.
Where's that in the UK? Because we have Head and Shoulders here.
We have Head and Shoulders too. We're not that backwards. Come on.
So did Dave make a rebuttal video to your rebuttal video already?
No. What happened was yesterday I made the first hour and then accidentally pressed the wrong button. So if I'm on the wrong page on my Stream Deck, the button to go to TV/webcam is the same as the record position on a different page. And I accidentally pressed the record button, which obviously stops the recording and starts it. So I stopped the recording. So that's what I've just played out to the public. What was your question again?
That was clear. Thanks.
I'm not very well. That's why I did a members only stream to get me into the flow of things. Now it's public. We are actually live, by the way. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah. Doesn't matter anyway.
Well, I'm going to round out shortly. We're
Yes,
doing
you
any
will.
book stuff today. I don't know if we I thought we were yesterday, and we ended up not doing any.
Yeah, because of Adam.
Yeah, Adam said he was very busy and then knackered.
Oh, you said Neil wrote me a message. He goes, Adam's not coming today. He's naked.
Naked. Stupid auto smell.
No, I didn't even know that's how you guys spelt it. I thought that's what he actually said until I read it.
Means tired. If anybody's unaware what knackered means. Knackered is a term that you'd use for something physically worn out. So what knackered actually means, to put it in context, would be if you've got a car that's got like bolts that are hanging off, so things are rattly and stuff worn, suspensions worn, so it's a kind of bucket of bolts. That would be a knackered car, but that means worn out. So to use it in a different context, people say they are knackered, and it's like meaning like a worn out old car. You know what I mean? You've been used, so to speak. So because of that being used aspect of it, it then got used as a sexual reference through the 80s and 90s, meaning, after coitus, I'm knackered. You know what I mean? Anyway, there you go. There's a brief history of that particular English word.
I thought it was naked, meaning you're stripped of everything and you're wiped out.
I think that possibly is why it also got used, like I say, with slight sexual connotations, or an inference towards that in the 80s and 90s.
I don't guess y'all heard what I said about ballers, did you?
No, you faded out.
I had to pick up the baton from you, John. I'm so sorry. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, given the context of the previous conversation about capacity and intelligence, we can't really get mad at the ballers or call them liars because they are doing the same thing AI's doing. Right?
I mean, maybe this is offering someone somewhere plausible deniability, John, and they can go, "Oh, well, we blame it all on the AI. It misled us. It lied. We thought we were on a ball, but I mean, it must have been the AI that told us. Stupid AI."
No, garbage in, garbage out. They just don't have the capacity of rational thought. So, they're not liars. They're just idiots.
Just dumb.
And mock people.
Yeah, we should have a bit more humility. We're dumb too. Everyone's dumb. And then you die.
Speak for yourself.
Well, it is frustrating. I mean, as much as I can recognise my own ignorance level, quantum eraser, I can also read of the philosophers in the past and their struggles. The smarter they are, the more they recognise how dumb the people around them are, and often that drives them to insanity. So maybe you could speak on that particular aspect of what I'm talking to in this regard, Kiwi. When you say speak for yourself, well, yeah, okay, I will, but I'll also speak on behalf of those people who've written those experiences down. It's not
They're
so much
dumbasses too.
Fair enough.
Is that what I got the term? I'm surrounded by idiots?
No, that was in a Bond movie. Then the volcano opened up and the rocket went out.
You're just trying to inhibit my strides of profundity.
Don't let me impede your strides of profundity, Quantum Eraser.
Where is the Zero Boy Sky Grifter been anyway? Is he going to respawn again?
I don't know, should I get my violins ready? Because I'm sure there'll be a sob story and a bit of e-begging being done when he does, right? That's usually the pattern.
Yeah, the woe is me boy.
Right, we all took it out. Should we transition into the after show? I think we probably should. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
And that's called visible deniability is actually someone stepping forward and say, I was wrong because I'm hurted.
Probably next week sometime, I would hope on Tuesday. We'll see how the post goes. Paid the taxes.
What's up with that guy asking you about Jim Panda today? Where did he come from?
Oh, he probably meant no harm.
So don't you find it kind of odd asking which it is when he was told to leave the community and he actually did?
Was he told to leave the community? Who told him to leave the community?
Well, who said that?
If it was me, I take it all back. I'm very fickle.
Yeah, because you remember he was grifting. Well, I guess he wasn't the community, but he said he was grifting your audience, basically.
I mean, I've told him to stop grifting ether because it's a scummy thing to be grifting with because it's bullshit. But sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, I just wanted some clarification because I'm like, it looks like he got the point. I mean, seems like the only thing he was good at was, not grifting or just trying to be a salesman for the ether.
Yeah, I mean, really, I could put some screenshots up of his face, and we could get some strings in the background, and we could reminisce about how fantastic he was.
Well, his last video, he was saying how he's going to come out with more videos, and he never did. So He's just an outright liar.
Oh, Neil, you're so ace.
I think he should go in the way of most people who come here to grift.
They get tired of it and
Doesn't
eventually
pay off for
bugger
them.
after it being exposed.
Yes, exactly. That's what usually happens. If they've been exposed, they're not going to get their maximum output of what they're trying to achieve here.
I mean, it might be the case that
maybe we'll find something new.
Maybe he got caught in the crossfire, you know, in which case, unfortunate for him. We tried to warn him. There was plenty of time spent with him explaining his disposition towards grifty, scammy, shilly people and what they do and punt. But obviously he went along with it because at some point it must have been beneficial to him, otherwise he wouldn't have done it. Now, me telling him not to was always, without exception, detrimental to me. As in, there was pushback from people who were, you know, the scummy, scammy ether people. So it didn't matter if he was with them doing it or, you know, with us being advised against it. He remained in it till his last interaction with me, at least. Now, after that fact, it's always going to be the case that, like I say, I'm pretty fickle. If I see people like Witsit around, I'll be like, how's it going, Witsit? And then the minute, you know, typically you're fine and smiles until they launch into shit again. And like I say, with Witsit, it'd be the case I would expect that, you know, like I say, fickle as I am, you cross their path. He starts very pleasant until he gets into his bullshittery, and then it all breaks down right quick with me launching into aggression and annoyance and general disbelief at how crappy some people can be when they shill for garbage, which it's done consistently ever since I've known him.
It'll be immediately after you say hello.
Yeah, that's it. Immediately, yeah.
Immediately. As soon as he opens his mouth. He's a pretender clown, double-speaking lion Sorat. He's already been exposed. What are we even talking about him for? It's old news.
What we're saying is there's a possibility he might have actually got the hint and buggered off, and it's like, right, well, if you all say you want me buggering off because I'm a scammer and I've shielded with the ether for so long, fine, I'm out of here, get lost. Tried to screw you out of 10 grand, saying I had some issues, and now he's actually gone. That is the implication. Until his next video, and I'm suggesting there'll be a next video, and it'll probably be begging. That's what I'm suggesting.
That is true, though. Every time he came on, you always said, "Hey, how you doing? What's it?" And then in no time, you were ripping him to shreds.
Not for being a bad person or anything. I would hope I never made it personal. It's just like, don't bullshit about ether.
No, it was never personal.
Like with anybody, we'd always be with the same. I wish him every well as a YouTuber, and I'd have shared his link and all that kind of crap.
As a videographer, right? What the hell? What is that actually? A videographer? I got a YouTube channel, and am I a videographer?
Yes. Yes, you are.
No, you're QE.
I don't think so.
He's a videographer, absolutely without question. Yes, that would be the title. What people say, YouTuber, no, the actual title is videographer.
It's a stupid title.
I didn't come up with the title. That's just the title. That's what you are when you're making videos.
No, that's what you are.
That's what you are.
You're both influencers, aren't you not? Influencers. Get it right. You're influencers.
No, that's another name for videographer if it's in video format, unless it's on the radio, which is unlikely.
And I use Head and Shoulders, if not Vosine, one of those two, for the anti-dandruff.
I remember seeing QE around. He was talking to Cathexis and going, man, this guy should be a videographer. And then I talked him into being one. Now he doesn't like the title.
Well, everybody else is a videographer, and QE is QE.
Texas, that's a name from the past. Betty brought his name up yesterday, too, ironically. He should have stayed.
Did he die?
No, I don't think so. No. But I don't know what happened to him after he left. He could be dead. Those were the days, weren't they?
No.
No.
Well, what I mean by that is, should I be brutally honest? I was always quite fearful of my own ignorance in the subject. Like,
those were the days.
Pussyfooting. Do you know what pussyfooting means?
I wasn't.
Do you know what
Pussyfooting around.
What do you think pussyfooting means, Neil? That's what I was doing. I was quite scared of my own ignorance of the subject. Like, it exhilarated me. I was excited by it, but in the same way, when you went on dates and you didn't know how the date would go, and you had, apprehension and anxiety, but obviously you were quite excited about the whole thing. It's a date. That was my kind of feeling, and it's a kind of a loathing because you want some solidity in your life, right? When you're going out on dates, you want to get married, you want to have kids, you want to have a family. There's an obvious ultimate goal, and it's the starting point for that, which is extremely exciting, but also terrifying, nerve-wracking, and fills you full of dread and apprehension, sweaty palms, butterflies. All of those feelings were the feelings I had at the beginning of this process. Now, I've tried to verbalise it before, saying it, you take that excitement like you're a little kid, and it is a bit like that. But that is also, I can now look back on it and reflect on the dread that I had back then. Now, I'm a lot more content in the subject matter. In fact, there's an almost indifference to the subject now, because it's kind of, it's not, like what I'm saying on the show, that there isn't a debate. When you get to that stage, you sort of ascend beyond the debate, right? We've ascended beyond the debate now. So back then there was a debate, really. Well, yeah, in a way, people are arguing with it, and sometimes you come across something that you're like, how am I going to overcome this subject? Now it's like, I don't give a crap how I overcome this subject. It's meaningless. There isn't a discussion or a debate to have. It is what it is. Now, if someone comes along and goes, well, how do you explain
you become
this?
the master.
Say again?
Yeah, much like Kung Fu. If you remember Kung Fu, David Carradine, he was a grasshopper, and he had his master. That kind of thing. Yeah?
Nah, he's saying he was pussyfooting. That means he was afraid, or he was
At the beginning,
undecided which way to go.
Yes, that's right, Neil. Yeah, well, we got there in the end. Yes, exactly. So as a result of my concern with my own ignorance, I would refrain from certain forays through concern. You know what I mean? Well, now I don't care. This is a very different attitude now. It's an indifference through enlightenment.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, QE.
So you were afraid that you would be wrong and Earth was not flat?
No, I knew it was flat. That kind of, in Neo's having explained, this feeling, it balls to bones, it through and through. Well, yeah, even with the ignorance of how I will overcome the arguments my opponents throw at me if I'm to talk about this, that's not the same as not knowing it's flat. I knew it was flat the moment I heard Math Powerland say it. Through every fibre of my being, it's everything I'd ever experienced, Neil. So, no, that's not what I mean. What I mean is my apprehension to the pushback from other people that I would have, and their knowledge to put the world into a position where they believe they're on a ball. That's a vast thing to have to overcome, for it to just exist, for you to be able to look at it and go, holy crap, the whole world believes they're on a ball. Well, that takes some doing. So back in the day, I'd say, well, I admire the eloquence of the heliocentric model. What I'm really saying is, yeah, there's been some effort put into misguiding so many people on such a mass scale so effectively. Respect it if you're going to try and fight it.
Yeah, I still say that today.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe what I'm calling apprehension is actually my respect for what I would have to be confronted with, or what I'd be facing if I'm going to fight the globe Earth. You know what I mean? Now, that's why I see people like Craig as a coward. Fight the flat Earth? What, the minority? You need to, like, leverage people behind you to brace against a minority that you've already got the consensus view against anyway. You've already got the people converted to your way of thinking, but you still need to suppress the very, very, very minimal opposition, and you need help to do it. You need to rally the people. You're like, my God, some of the if this is studied in 100 years, they'll look at someone like Craig with utter disgust. Like, what a coward. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong in my view of this, but that's how I see it. If you were to look on the outside in, on someone with the majority behind them, that's already convinced of their position, needing to fight and try and squash some minimal opponents. That's how it stands with the consensus worldview. Everyone does believe they're on a ball, no matter how much I know Earth is measured flat. So what, you need to rise up with the powers alongside you and the commenters and the trolls and hundreds of sock accounts, right? Craig goes around calling himself Batman and stuff. I kid you not. It's absolutely cowardly. But I mean, like I say, that's what I with forethought, or whatever the word is, future seeing, or whatever the word is, you look and go, well, is that how they'll look back on this scenario in 100 years, when they're like, bloody hell, people used to believe this tribe? Like we could look back on previous religious control structures that were used across the people in years gone by. Like, just the current one's heliocentric. Now, because you're in it, it's hard to recognise it. Like, it's hard to recognise you're in a Scientology cult. If you're in it, you're in it.
They'll look back on him like they look at him today. A bugger eater.
Just want to do
They won't look at him at all. But he won't be remembered. Sorry.
Won't be remembered.
Why would he? No. Why would he be?
It's a good point.
So they were better off just staying silent. Why even answer that? You got the whole majority. Why even respond?
Well, because they're poor dumb bastards. That's why.
Yeah, poor dumb bastards. You said it before, Neil. You always summarise this so quickly. Out of their pride, right? Being wrong is an affront to their own self-worth. And they'll go to the ends of the earth to not have their self-worth in their own mind lowered in any way. To the point where they'd literally have me castrated. You know what I mean? That's how much people value their own. Obviously, people are obviously self-indulged. People are only worried about number one, and that can lead you to be the way our opponents are.
They're all atheist evotards. Well, good, not all, but a great majority of them. Just depends. We're speaking about large groups of people here. Anti-flat earthers are dumb as shit. Your regular globers are indoctrinated, Joe Coffey and Betty Breadmaker. They don't know what's going on. And then there's the other group that are so-called scientists. They're just liars. That's the way I see it.
Is it not just compartmentalization in terms of them being kept away from each other's contradictions?
Which group are
Scientists, the last one you mentioned, sorry.
Scientists.
Oh, the so-called science. The bourgeoisie. So aren't they compartmentalized?
The bourgeoisie.
The so-called scientists, academia, and whoever puts this stuff up. No, they're liars.
I've heard the term before. What's bourgeoisie? Or bourgeoisie?
The bourgeoisie, the upper class. You got the bourgeoisie and the proletariats. Proletariats is your common man.
The bourgeoisie is the upper class.
Yeah, bourgeoisie. Yeah.
Bourgeoisie.
Not-
Okay.
Is that where the term bougie comes from?
Yeah.
Bougie.
That's one of those posh sandwiches.
Now, I got so-called scientists, right?
Yeah.
Astrophysicists and nutbags like that, right? Could they just be a case of garbage in, garbage out?
Could be. They're just regurgitating. I'm sure there's individual cases. It's just too broad of a topic. I got to deal with one numpty dipshit at a time. Categorize them, see what group they're in, and then drill down. So, as a whole, as a broad brush, I think I'm within hand grenade range.
Of what?
Of the bourgeoisie being liars, the regular globers just being indoctrinated. They got better things to do. They got life's troubles. They're just globers. And then the anti-flat earthers are just retarded morons. That's who we deal with mostly.
Okay.
That's the way I see it. That's the way it is too.
I think it's just differing levels of ignorance all the way up to anti-flat earthers.
I forgot to preface this. A good majority, and I think I already did, they're atheist evotards. So it's implicit that there can't be a flat, stationary, contained Earth. You can't have that. So you got to fight with every ounce of your being against that. That's at the root of this. That's the root issue.
Wow. I get it.
You said previously that the issue was pretender clowns, as in most people are pretender clowns.
Well, most people are they're frauds. They're pretending to be something they're not. Yes. There's a lot of facets to this. There's a lot of ins and outs and what have yous. I'm just making a broad brush, right? Each individual will be judged on the tenets that they stand on. Like, bring one in. I'll show you. We'll get down to it real quick.
Who have we talked about thus far on this show, Neil? Can you remember who have we mentioned so far? Obviously, we've covered Dave McKeegan. Was there anybody else? Just so we're not...
Sideman Dan, McKeegan.
Sideman Dan.
What category? He's an anti-flat earther. I don't know whether he's he's definitely an evotard. So if he's an evotard, they're most assuredly going to be atheist. Typical anti-flat earther, dumb as shit, right? Pretender clown and defending their religion.
This is great. I'm having fun already.
Ken Panda.
We mentioned. We've had Craig fight the flat earth.
Right. He follows he's a sci-fi scammer. He follows the same category.
Anti-flat earther.
Definitely.
What about Jem? We brought his name up. Somebody asked you to debate Jem Panda.
Jem Panda. Same.
Jem Panda, atheist, evotard. He's severely mentally retarded.
Did somebody already mention Neil deGrasse Tyson?
He's a liar.
He's what? He's
a liar.
Say
again? Oh yeah, definitely bourgeoisie. Yeah.
No, he's just a liar.
Oh yeah, they're liars. Danny Faulkner, liar. You can't make it to that level of academia and be that fucking retarded. So he's a liar.
Is Danny Faulkner the one I quite like?
You would.
Is it? I can't remember. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I wish I hadn't said that.
Danny Faulkner is the one that you just gave too much respect for, especially refracted.
What do you mean you don't know who Danny Faulkner is?
He's the one that chatted with refracted curvature and there was lots of massive, really long gaps. Is that the one?
Danny Faulkner, we've been dealing with him ever since the beginning, Nathan. Hello.
Okay.
Whoa.
He is the gentleman that I allowed to speak.
I told him in 2016. Sorry, I overtalked. John, it's hard to hear you, dude.
It is, John. It's not your fault or John QE's fault, but yes.
You need to fix that mic. Now, I told Danny in 2016, that's when I ran into him. I told right at the end, our little discussion, I said, there's one of two choices, Danny. You're either a retard or you're a liar. That's what I told him. That was my ending statement to him. I don't think the man's retarded. I did give him a choice. You can't reach that high level of academia in his position being a retard. So obviously, right, he's a liar.
Well, when you say the things he said, yeah, he's a liar.
I don't think he has philosophical competency to be a liar.
Hold on a second. He said that God literally stopped the earth from rotating, reflected.
Okay.
I think Neil's suggesting that because he's reinterpreting the Bible in the way they do, that makes him a liar. Right, Neil?
Absolutely.
Nah, it makes him an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive. You could have parts of each, but the higher you go, the more the liar comes out.
Yeah, he's a lying idiot.
Well, that's entirely possible, but I don't know. I'm not going to say malice to it. I think he's just a moron.
Oh, he's definitely a moron. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Well, well, can it be both?
Yes, I just said they're not mutually exclusive.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, QE's saying he's both, and I'm saying that I just think he's a moron.
Oh, you're saying, yeah, it can be both, but in this case, it's just stupidity. Oh,
yeah,
nice. This is fun. Who else we got? Danny Faulkner's been done right.
T-jump.
T-jump.
He's in his own category.
Nah, just anti-flatty.
No, he's below anti-flat earther. He's well below that.
Yeah, he's like anti existence. I don't know. The dude just, and the fact that Witsit repeated the shit that dude said is just mind-boggling.
Yeah. Any more?
Dave Farina.
He's an anti-flat earther, but he's and dumb as shit. Pretender clown, most definitely. Good.
He didn't even get recognized by James Tor. What did he say about him?
The YouTuber. Tor knew who he was. Tor knew who he was. Well, they're atheists. Again, the anti-flat earther, he's definitely anti-flat earther. They're evolutionist, evotard atheists. Who was the other one? Brenda, same thing.
So it's a philosophy holding them back mentally.
Holding them back mentally. No, that's a lack of brain cells. But it's their worldview that halts coherent thought. Yes.
all spans from the devil.
Yeah.
You said that like it was a joke, man.
Like
He
I was a
did.
joke. No.
Yeah,
that
that's
wasn't
a true
joke.
statement.
So when it boils down to it, that's it. Yeah. Yes.
He's the father of lies, right?
Yep.
Watching a video of a guy going through the I was about to say etymology, but that's the right word. I think hermeneutics is the right word. He's going through the original meanings of the words from the Bible. And he was talking about Satan or Satans, and they're like accusers, but the more modern translation gets used as Satan. I thought that was quite interesting that it's not actually the word that is used when I say the devil. That's not Satan or a Satan. That's an accuser.
Yeah, well, he's an accuser of the brethren.
Sure. It's like an Satan as opposed to
Yeah,
the
it's a
devil.
title. It's a title. Yeah.
Right.
You got it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. It's not a single individual. It's everything is context, though.
Exactly. You've got it. QE's summarised it where I was struggling to.
Yep.
What's McKeegan?
What's McKeegan?
Triangles.
I didn't. What was the question?
Where does he sit?
Oh, you know where he sits. Come on now.
What about Sabine Hasselfelder? Remember her?
She's look, bring me my Hassenpfeffer. She is the part of the bourgeoisie.
You put her in bourgeoisie?
She's bougie.
Yeah, she's definitely bougie.
Bougie? She's definitely. You think she's the higher ups that know they're lying? I don't know if I'd put her in that category. Really?
I didn't say the higher ups that know they're lying. Listen, I said I qualified it. I said they're lying. You could broad brush them as liars. However, there's a lot of them that are retarded. So I didn't right. But if I was looking at the whole category, liars. Her particularly, she's she's delusional Dunning-Kruger. That's my assessment.
Yeah, she did a debunking. She said that she debunked the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment.
She couldn't debunk a Cracker Jack box.
I thought that video was perfect for you if you want to do a treatment on it.
Why would I?
Well, she's YC. You know, she's up there responding to that. People believing that they debunked that experiment.
I was going to say,
I think I did it. I think I did at some point.
You did.
I think it's on my channel somewhere. That was some years ago.
Yeah, I think in that one where she makes a complete, like, just runs off with decoherence and runs that as an argument, like within her argument.
I can't even remember. I don't know. I can't remember what she did. It was stupid. I remember that. But she's still part of the bourgeoisie, though, because she got credentials. Yeah.
If you have credentials in Narnia, right?
Yep.
If you have done a study on Narnia, does that make you bourgeoisie?
Yeah. In this context, yes. He's sort of the Bruce Springsteen of the bourgeoisie. Sabina Bruce.
Calls him the boss.
He looks like him.
Sabina Bruce, I think I called her one time.
Yeah, she was dressed. She was dressed like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Around
That's
Christmas
right.
time.
I think she dolled herself up for one video, right? She let her hair down, put some makeup on.
What, her back hair?
Somebody should do like the dancing in the dark video, but like put her face over Bruce Springsteen. So when he gets Courtney Cox up there
Look in the mirror.
That's pretty funny, man.
Does he say, want to change my clothes, my hair, my something like that? Yeah, that'll fit her.
Yeah, my clothes, my face. Just dancing in the dark.
Yeah.
I remember when that first came out. I was in Europe. Not in England, I was in Europe. I think. What year did that come out?
Oh, wow. What year did that come out? That was the 80s. Had to be 85.
Yeah, I was over there.
And then there was Born in the USA, which everybody uses as American song. But if you listen to the words, it's not.
'85. That was a good
you
year.
in Europe?
Yep.
Were you in Europe when the wall fell?
Yep. I was out there with a sledgehammer.
I got a piece of that wall.
Yeah, that brought a ton of it back. I got stopped in the airport in the States. They thought it was plastic explosive.
I was a year off. It says it was released in 84, the album.
Yeah. What about the video?
Let me check.
Who's that dude from Knight Rider that they got to come out and sing at the wall? Oh, I can't remember his name now. You know what I'm talking about?
No, QE, it was June of 84. So the summer just started to kick off or was getting ready to kick off.
Okay. I think I caught it late. I caught it in 85.
They had memories for me.
Knight Rider.
Say again?
What's that dude's name from Knight Rider? Who was
David
sick that like the
Hasselhoff.
Germans love him?
David Hasselhoff.
Yes.
So the car
he was
sang
singing
at,
at the
so the car sang at the wall?
Was called Kit.
Michael.
Yeah, Hasselhoff was like Germans loved them some Hasselhoff. As soon as that wall come down, they stuck him up there. You know what I mean? Like they were like, "Well, we're gonna have a concert. Got to have Hasselhoff here."
I think Pink Floyd there when the wall came down. It was the wall tour. Don't remember much of it.
What, the wall come out the same year the wall came down?
I think.
No, Pink Floyd's The Wall came out in 1980.
Yeah. I think, yeah, but they had, I don't know whether it was the wall tour, but as soon as the wall came down, they had an open air concert. Yeah, it was a begging. Stones did too. Nah. I seen this. In fact, I seen the Stones in East Berlin. A thunderstorm.
I seen the
Have you ever-
Stones.
I can't remember. The timing it runs together when you start getting older.
Have you
Go
heard
ahead.
the story?
I thought the
Have you heard the
Stones were
story of
great.
the wall?
Can't just one at a time.
Have you heard the story of the wall and how it comes down? Like, it don't even seem real, but it's like everybody in Germany just realized, like, hey, we don't have this wall up no more, and both sides destroyed it.
Yeah, we didn't know. It shocked everyone, even the military. I had no clue. We had no briefings on it, nothing. And it's just one day, November 9th, bam. There was no lead up to it. It was very strange.
Yeah, John Cougar Mellencamp was saying it when the walls come tumbling down. He was predicting it.
No, but the thing is, it was like everybody in that country at that moment was just like, I don't want this wall up no fucking more. You know what I mean?
Hey, I got an idea. Let's tear this
Tear down the wall.
Maybe so.
Yeah,
It
I ain't
was
saying it's
wild.
not possible. It's just
It was wild over there in those days, man. I fit right in there.
Yeah, you must have been having a good time.
I fit right in there like a glove. Oh boy!
in elementary school, where you like get out in the hallway and put your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye.
Hey, my father was
Remember that?
stationed in Germany, and he's seen the Beatles there before they were anything.
Crazy stories from there that we won't be going into today.
I could just imagine.
I was out of control, man. That's
Sure
why I
you
said it was the perfect spot for me. Right place, right time.
And how old were you at that time?
Oh shit. 85? Well, I got there in at the beginning of 85.
That
So
make you like 103 now then or something, right?
shut up.
So you in your mid-20s.
Yep.
I thought you were.
That's when you could get up, road march about 25 miles, play tennis, lift some weights, drink a couple fifths of Jack Daniels, and then wake up the next morning and do all the same thing again and not even think twice about it. No aches, no pains, nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, sleep an hour.
No hangover.
Sleep an hour and get up like nothing. You know, yeah.
Yep. Whatever you said, yeah.
The only thing I can remember in those drinking days is the next morning, I would be by the freaking sink because there was no bottled water, and I would just be downing cups of water.
Yeah. Yeah. I got up the other day and my leg wouldn't work. Almost fell right onto the ground.
That's a daily thing for me.
What the fuck is going on here? It just wouldn't work, man. You know, you just assume that the left leg will go right after the other to right.
It's supposed to.
So I guess I'm guilty of presuming. Too funny. And then I think it was 3 or 4. Got up out of the chair. I was doing something. I was working on something. Got up out of the chair, and my bones in my legs cracked like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was like, I said, "What the?" They echoed through the house, man. I think my son heard me. He said, "What the heck was that?" My legs, man. He's starting to get uppity. I could subdue him pretty quick. But now he's starting to lift weights every day, run 20 friggin' miles. He's 19. Thinks he's all that in a bag of chips, but I'm a little bit small. I got that country strong, right? He's got that young weightlifting strong. I'm just country strong. And I can use my mind.
I can use my mind strength.
Yeah, I get him that way. Too funny. It's a lot of fun.
My kids are 2 gorillas. I wouldn't even think of anything. And my third guy, he's like a string bean.
It's the gorillas are no problem. They're overconfident, so you use that against them.
Yeah, I found that out to be true. In a fight, the gorillas are always easier to beat. If they come right at you, and you could just make a move. And I was short, so I had nice leverage.
Yep. Many avenues. Or, if they catch you and they wrap you up in their meat hooks, you just have to get. You just have to
bite them.
You have to get plumb mad dog mean.
Yeah, you bite them. That's how. If I got grabbed, I bit. I don't care. I'm gonna fight you. There's no rules. I didn't hear the ref ring the bell.
All right. Well, what's going on this weekend? You know what I'm doing. Shooting. I got up early this morning too, 6 o'clock. So tomorrow morning will be much easier to get up. That's shooting. God, I love the flight of that arrow. Like, I'm addicted. Can't wait till tomorrow. I'm busting right now. It's an archery. I proclaim this National Archery Month. It's unlike any month of the year.
Wait a second. How did this just come about? You always were into it, or you just got into it and got addicted?
No, my sister took us to Montana on a trip. Sort of like a dude ranch, but really a bourgeoisie dude ranch. It's not like a dude ranch. I don't know how you would classify it. We stayed at this beautiful cabin. It's just gorgeous in Montana. And they brought all the meals to you. And they were 5-star meals. And they had activities. So we stayed there 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 or 6 days. So it was me and my daughter and my 2 brothers and a couple of their friends. My sister's boy came, but he was adult. And just, there's something about Montana. I had never been to Montana before. There's something about Montana. It's kind of magical. I can't, it's hard to explain. It's breathtakingly beautiful. But anyway, that's getting off topic. So
Well, my son wants to move.
What?
It's where my oldest son keeps wanting to move to, Montana.
We'll go up there for shit. Who cares? All right. So before we left, they had a list and they have activities for you to do each day that you're there. And they give you plenty of choices. I can't even name all the choices. Horseback riding. I'm not a fucking cowboy, so I'm not doing that. They had a bunch of obstacle courses and long roping, and I was starting to get old there too. So all the heavy physical stuff I stayed away from. But one of the courses was archery. So I'm looking down the list. And I see archery. I said, well, that's something I have never done before. So I clicked the box. And unbeknownst to me, everyone in our group clicked that box. So on whatever it was, Tuesday morning, I can remember listening to Nathan's show on my phone there, by the way. It was too funny. And my sister's boy was a flat earther.
Nice.
He said, oh yeah, I've known that for a long time. I said, cool. He heard me listen to Nathan's show, and he goes, yep, that's right. But anyway, so we went to archery. I can remember standing there. Now my brothers, they were quite familiar with a compound bow. So they did a lot of hunting, not only with a compound bow, but they were well aware of it. Right. So we got there, and they had all the bows sitting on, I guess Hoyt sponsored them. So they had a bunch of Hoyt bows, like 10 of them spread out. They had 2 instructors. Right? And they said, okay, this is your introduction to it. I didn't know. I was so fucking backwards. I picked up the bow upside down and backwards.
No.
And my brothers are back here snickering at me. I said, I'm not ashamed. I've never shot one of these. I've never picked the bow up. This is my first time I ever had one in my hand. No shit. I don't know how that happened, but it happens. Because most of my buddies back in PA, they were rifle hunters. So we did a lot of shooting back then. We just didn't shoot. I never knew anyone with a bow, even though it's the largest bow hunting state in the United States, but I digress. So I picked it up, and they gave a brief little instruction and taught me how. They didn't do a lot of teaching, but I kind of got the gist of it. I watched my brother shoot it first, and they were like, this is nothing. So I was watching them quite intently. So I pulled it back. I said, wait a second, this is too low poundage. Can you turn the poundage up on this? This is like for a 3-year-old. He turned it up. I pulled it back. I said, that's still too low. So we did that about 6 times in a row until he maxed it out, and it was still light. So I said, okay, but this is a little bit more decent. I mean, this feels like I got some resistance. So I like this. And they said, shoot at this target. And it was only like 10 feet away. And as soon as that first arrow left that friggin' string, I was hooked.
You were hooked?
I was hooked. Then they took us on a 3D course with all these gorgeous, it was beautiful, right? Because this is like high class resort. I should not say dude rent. This is a resort. Right? So we were walking through the wood line up in the mountains, and they had a whole bunch of targets, and I was just asking questions to the instructor. I'm sitting there, how does this work? Different distances and stuff. What's going on with the sight, peep, everything. And he knew. He was looking at me. Goes, I could just see the look on his face. And by the time we're halfway through, I'm standing by the instructor. In fact, he wanted me to shoot a target. It was a bull at 70 yards. And now I didn't know how to range it or anything. We didn't have any range finders or anything. So I asked him, I said, how far is that? And he said, it's about 70 yards. And I said, well, what pin? I had, I think, a 3-pin sight in there. A 3-pin or a 5-pin. I can't remember. It doesn't make any difference. He just said, the bottom pin is going to be 50 yards. And the 3-pin is going to be 75 yards. And I said, okay, 55. And I said, it's a 70. I said, you just want me to aim over its head, right? And I'm the first one to shoot. It's the longest target on the course. In fact, he brought me up. He says, here, hey, have John come up here, because everyone's like intimidated by it. Have John come up here, because I was shooting pretty good. He goes, have John come up here. So I said, okay, I'm asking him what pin. And I just said, I'll just use a little Kentucky windage. And I shot it between the bubble level and the last pin. And I shot a little bit above his head.